was brown, there was random trash, and somehow there was a live axolotl inside. Apparently, the seller's uncle gave it to him and he needed someone to take care of it for him. But $5, dang, that's extremely cheap. Let me go save this axolotl. So I drove out to the seller and bought the tank with the axolotl for $5. Okay, I just got this in my car and we gotta take this home to see if the axolotl inside is gonna be able to survive. And I really hope it's okay, because if it is, I'm gonna completely revamp this home into a dream home paradise so we can give this axolotl his best life. Quickly, I went home and set up a filter in the water so I would be able to see inside. But after letting it run for 30 minutes, the water literally did not clear up at all. Okay, I have no time to waste, so I'm just gonna try and dig around and scoop it out with this net, even though I can't see anything. So I started to take each decoration out one by one, and it didn't take long until I saw this little thing at the bottom of the net. I had found the axolotl, and thankfully it was still in good health. So I quickly moved it out into a temporary tank and was super surprised by what I saw. Guys, this is not a normal axolotl. This is actually a super rare axolotl. It has the golden trait and it also looks like it's albino and a baby. To put in perspective how rare this is, this whole tank was like $5, as you know. I could probably sell this right now as it is for over $100. And little did I know, this axolotl was even rarer than I thought. It actually had a special gene that made it be able to glow in the dark and more. Yeah, this video is insane. Anyways, to start the enclosure transformation process, step number 1 was to empty out that disgusting sewage water. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with how bad this tank is. Pretty much every decoration's a fake plastic one. The substrate is absolutely nasty, and just the whole thing has no structure to it. It's just plain ugly. So I took out all the trash decorations and threw them in the garbage where they belong. Then I emptied out all the sand, since I'm pretty sure that's what was causing the water to be so brown. And finally, what the heck is this, bro? Why did the seller's uncle just tape a picture of bamboo on the wall? It doesn't fit, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, axolotls don't live with bamboo. Yeah, that is so dumb. Let's rip this trash off of there. Anyways, now that we're back to the bare bones of this tank, the first step is to build the lake bed base. To build that, we start by just putting a ton of sand in here and piling it up in a mound in the middle of the tank, because I have a cool idea for this. You see, axolotls live at the bottom of lakes in the wild, so to build that in here, I stuck some wooden branches in the sand and surrounded them in a ton of river rocks. Which, if you're wondering the names of them, this type is called a Tahaiji stone, and this one is called a Seiryu stone. Yeah, I don't know who names these, but I would just call them smooth stone and rough stone. Those are better names. Anyways, I also want to cover these mounds in tons of aquatic plants, which if you've seen my channel before, you know these are extremely expensive. I mean, look at all of these. This totals to $125. Please subscribe. Well, I forced myself to forget the price while I planted them around, and I made it look absolutely beautiful. I put the taller plants near the back of the mound and the smaller plants up near the front, since it adds some nice depth in here, or something like that. Alright, it's starting to look pretty good, but to complete the sides, this is where we're going to put the custom DIY builds. And you see, in the wild, axolotls like to hide in little rock caves because that's where they feel safe from predators. So I'm going to build a custom little cave on the right side, and to start that, I found this basket in my house. Oh, this is gonna work perfectly. Let's just get that out of there. With this, I started by getting out a heavy-duty saw and cutting a hole in it that would serve as the entrance to the cave. And then I quickly sanded down the rough edges and used my hot glue gun to start gluing these little thin gray rocks all around it to obviously give it that cave look. And after I was done gluing all those on, it actually looked pretty solid. But as you can see, some of the hot glue I used to connect it was still exposed, so I quickly covered that in some pebbles. Once I was done, I put the enclosure in, and it didn't really fit. So I took it out and rearranged some of the rocks and put it back in, and boom, perfect fit. There we go. I think that cave looks pretty good in the grand scheme of things, and yeah, it is a pretty small entrance to get inside, but obviously the rare axolotl is still a baby, so it should be able to fit in there just fine. Anyways, I finished it off by putting some plants right out in front and a couple big rocks on top to make it look more cavey. There we go. Everything's starting to come together well, but now it's time to design the left side. And if you guys remember, that first version of the tank had this big, ugly, like bamboo wallpaper along the back. But anyways, this did actually get me kind of inspired, and for the left side, I want to make it just like bamboo themed, you know? We got to keep a little bit of the original, because I guess it wouldn't really be transforming if we didn't. So let's get that done. For the first decoration, I of course got out some brown sticks of bamboo, so it'd be bamboo-y, you know? And on each stick of bamboo, I started to drill little holes. You see, axolotls like to have resting spots near the top of their enclosures. That way they can easily swim up and gulp air from the surface. So to build something like that, I got out some string and started to thread all the bamboo together. I kind of felt like a grandma doing this, you know, sewing away with a needle. Yeah, it was pretty fun though. Anyways, I hot glued the ends of the string so they wouldn't move, and boom, check this out. A bamboo hammock that the axolotl can rest on. In order to get it attached to the top of the enclosure, I once again used some hot glue to put on some little suction cups, and in no time it was complete. Alright, there we go. Check the hammock out. I'm sure the axolotl's gonna like to lay on this. And yeah, to complete this left side, we're gonna add a little more bamboo decoration. And so in the sand, I wanna put some live actual bamboo. It's curly for some reason, not really know why, but I'm gonna plant this in the sand. So I put each of the bamboos there under the hammock and covered it in a mound of sand. But I'm not done yet. I've been saving the coolest addition for last. And this next thing is gonna take this from a normal aquarium to, well, if I'm being honest, it's probably still gonna be kind of normal, but it's gonna be cooler looking. Now to build this thing, I first got out some giant plastic boards and glued them together to make one giant board. Then I covered it all with some black felt. Now you're probably wondering why I built this giant black platform, but basically the reason is because I can go and put it right behind the tank just like this. And then now what I'm gonna do is use these things called plant pockets, glue them to the back of that, and basically what this allows me to do is, you know, put plants in them, and we're gonna have some overhanging plants in here. But first I needed to go get the plants, so like always I drove to Walmart. Okay, I'm at Walmart now, and look at this. Bro, this is usually where all the plants are, and for some reason they replaced them all with plastic Christmas trees. Who cares about these? I want my plants back. All they got is these stupid roses. Yeah, it turns out the plants are gone from Walmart for the season, so instead I had to go to a normal, boring plant shop and get the plants there. Okay, I was kind of sad that I had to abandon Walmart, but this was only like $50 for all these plants. Like, dang, that's actually a good deal. It's definitely cheaper than those aquatic plants. We don't talk about those, though. When I got home, I got out the plants and put them all inside their little pockets. And dang, check this whole thing out. It actually looks all right. Just don't go around and look at the back. Yeah, it's kind of curving, but honestly, it kind of gives a cool effect, and you know, it makes the plant leaves drip over the top. Anyways, now to complete the build, I just got to do some finishing touches, and what that means is I first filled it up with some cycled water and attached a filter on it. Okay, I've never used one of these filters before, but apparently it's pretty cool. I just got to go and plug it in down here, and dang, check this out. Look, it's like a waterfall. It makes a bunch of these little water streams. But I guess when I want it to be quiet, I can just go like that, and there we go. Can't really hear it anymore. Now I saved the best thing for last, this little gift present. Okay, this is actually cool what's inside. Basically, it's this little glass crystal ball with a hologram of an axolotl inside. There we go. So what you do is you put it on this little platform, and basically it just kind of glows there and changes colors. Anyways, this is now completely transformed, and it's time to not only add in the golden axolotl to his new home, but show off exactly what axolotls do during their days, and show off how it can literally glow out of its temporary enclosure, and bada bing, bada boom, welcome to your new home. Right away, he started to explore around his new tank, and eventually made his way into the cave I built for him. Okay, so the axolotl's in the cave right now, so this is the perfect time to test out some foods with him to see which he likes the most. And first up, I want to test just some normal fish food. Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to eat it. It's fish food, it's not axolotl food, but let's try it out. So I dropped them in and let them sit for a little while, but yeah, he didn't really eat them, and he didn't even come out to take a look at them. A little later, the axolotl left the cave, so I got out the second food, bloodworms. But these are frozen bloodworms, so to make them, you know, not frozen anymore, just kind of plop the packet in a little cup of water like that. And we can go and just take this big chunk and put it in right next to the axolotl. And it didn't take long until he noticed it and instantly took a snap at it, eating the whole pile up. And oh my gosh, he just ate that whole thing. Oh dang, he's hungry. Anyways, I got the third and final food source out, night crawlers. Which are just worms basically, but they're giant worms compared to those tiny little blood worms. Okay, here we go. We got a nice little tiny piece of worm, and we're just gonna drop it in right next to the axolotl. And after wiggling it around in front of him, he picked up the scent, and as you can expect, yep, he started going crazy, eating this worm up too. He's absolutely just devouring this, just shaking it up. He's not letting this thing get away. That's a good axolotl. Oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. We actually got this guy for $5. I can't believe that. Anyways, later that day, I was watching some videos about axolotls and figured out that sometimes they can be bred to literally glow in the dark under UV light. Which, I mean, look at that. That is just so cool. Okay, so I got all the lights turned off in my room and it's nighttime. So I got this little light, and when you click the button, it turns on the UV rays, and oh, that's blinding. But anyways, I just want to shine this in here and see if my axolotl actually has that glow in the dark ability. I actually have no idea if this is gonna work. Wait. Oh, okay, wait. I actually did not expect that to work. Oh, look at the axolotl. He's just glowing in the dark. Yeah, I don't really know what I expected, but it's actually pretty cool. So for whatever reason, if I can't find the axolotl, I just turn off the lights, click this button, and boom, you're found, buddy. You're never gonna be able to hide from me ever again. Also, by the way, I want to let you guys know we're trying to hit 1 million subscribers before the end of the year, which you know is about not a lot of time. So I'm sorry, guys, but I gotta pull out the statistic. Check this out. Basically, it means only 7% of you guys watching right now are actually subscribed. And if everyone watching is subscribed, we'd be way past our goal. So anyways, just if you're enjoying this video, subscribe, please. Thank you. Anyways, axolotls have so much cool stuff about them that I didn't even cover in this video. And I'll definitely be making more videos about this guy in the future. So if you got any cool name suggestions, comment them down below. Remember to check out the merch and get it while the sale lasts. Thanks for watching, and click the video on the screen to watch another. It may take you a couple of seconds to realize that there's a camouflaged mantis here, but that's all the time it needs to grab you and eat you alive. Yep, there's mantises that have learned to imitate flowers so well that they grow literal petals on their arms, all just to trick bugs into walking near them. So hey, I guess let me buy them. Add to cart. And because of their fantastic one-day delivery, the next day I got the package. Inside was 4 little containers, each with their own mantis. There was 2 of these pink and white flower mantises. There was 1 dead moss-looking mantis, and also 1 black mantis, which doesn't really blend in with anything in nature, so I don't know why this was included in the camouflage pack, but I'll make it work. For the builds, I'm going to take out 4 enclosures and start spraying the backs of them, all of course with some spray foam, which I then covered in dirt and moss, and I did that to every single enclosure. I then even went and added some little spray foam mounds on the backs of each background so they all had some depth and variation to them. Now from here, I'm going to create the camouflage bases of each enclosure, starting first with the 2 pink and white flower mantises. For these guys, I started by filling up their enclosures with dirt and attaching some smaller sticks hanging along the back of it. I eventually want to get pink and white flowers all over this, but for now, we're just making the base. I then used some of this green moss to hang off the ends of all of the sticks. We don't want to use too much of this stuff though, because the mantises don't really blend in that well with it. Then for the start enclosure, we're gonna put in those same dirt and sticks, but as you can see, this mantis evolved to have more of a pattern that matched this tan dead moss. So this time I put a ton of that moss everywhere along the branches. Then for the floor, you guessed it, more tan stuff like dead leaves, some more moss, sticks, and pine cones. But I feel like this enclosure is still kind of missing something, and to be honest, I've kind of ran out of all of the tan materials. So I'm just gonna head outside, and as you can see back here, there's a ton of these like dead flower things, but they look exactly like the mantis. So let me pick off a few and take them inside. But you see, I don't want to just shove these into the enclosure because there's a chance that there's some deadly bacteria and parasites on them. So to kill all that stuff, I preheated my oven to 250 degrees, lined the sticks up on a baking sheet, and slid it inside. Basically, because the temperature is so high, it's gonna kill all the bacteria and stuff on here, so we can put this in the enclosure. All right, it's been in there for like 30 minutes, so let's just pull this out, and oh yes, it's looking nice and crispy. Maybe a little too crispy. That one looks like it just caught on fire, actually. Anyways, I put those around the enclosure, and then it was done. Now, finally, onto the black mantis's base. And as you know, this guy doesn't really blend in that well with normal stuff, because like nothing in nature is black, really. But I'm not gonna let that stop me, because I actually have an idea. So what I did was go outside and started to saw a few branches off of some trees. Once I had collected a few of them, I laid them down along a metal sheet as they were now ready for my experiment. Everyone, say hello to a blowtorch. Yes, this is real. Apparently you can just buy one at Walmart for $20 and you don't need a license or anything. I don't really know how to use this thing, but basically I just want to burn the wood so it's black. So I guess let's just try it out. So that's what I did. Basically the sticks catch on fire for just a second, which is just enough time for them to turn black. I also decided to burn them one by one in order to not accidentally start a giant bonfire in my house. I then put all this black wood around the enclosure and kind of just stuff the larger pieces in the top of the sticks, and there we go.
There we go. Looks pretty good now, but I think we can go even darker. And we do that, of course, by once again getting the blowtorch, and we're just gonna go along the background and just kind of set it to fire. Oh, shoots. Oh, I gotta be careful.
To all of you watching, make sure not to try this at home if you're not a trained professional. And if you're wondering, no, I'm not a trained professional, and I'm literally doing this in my house, so,
All right, there we go. It kind of just looks like a forest fire went off here, but...
Anyways, the next step is to put some plants in here. And this is where the camouflage ability of each mantis is really gonna come alive. Got out all the plants and started by just putting them in the first 2 flower enclosures.
But I still feel like I gotta make these 2 enclosures way more pink.
And in order to do that, I went outside and went up to this pink tree I have in my yard. The flower petals all over it looked like a good color, so I grabbed a few of them and scattered them along both of my enclosures. Now, when I put one of the pink flower mantises up to the flowers and let them climb onto it, it's almost like it completely disappears. Anyways, now it's time for this 3rd enclosure. Now, if you remember, I got this plant for this enclosure, so I kind of just picked off parts of it and planted it along the soil all around the enclosure. And as you can see, this mantis blends in all right with this, but it's actually going to be mostly used as just a way to climb up to some moss where she really blends in with.
All right, that looks good. And now time for the black enclosure for the black mantis. And for this, I just got a green plant because obviously there's no such thing as a black plant, or wait, actually, there might be a thing as a black plant. Let me test it out. Let me put that leaf there. Turn on the blowtorch, and I guess just see what happens. Just start lighting it a fire.
And as you can see, when I burned this plant, it actually was turning black, but also had a slight side effect that it was completely getting disintegrated, and the structure of it all fell apart.
Yeah, I don't know if I could use that, actually.
So I just stuck to my original plan and put the plant smack dab in the center of the enclosure. Yeah, it doesn't really match, but to be honest, it's kind of cool and adds a little bit of nice contrast to this burned wasteland look. And with that, we can now finally put the mantises into their new home and see if their camouflage actually works on bugs. Let's go get these mantises fed.
Now, as you can see, I've got 4 different tiers of food that get harder and harder to hunt. So let's start by first letting the little pink mantis go. There you go, boy. Come on. You gonna climb on? Hello?
Now, for the first food source for this guy, I'm going to be using literally the smallest animal they sold at the pet store. Extra small crickets, which is the size I never get for my videos because, I mean, look at them. They're like even smaller than my fingernail. But anyways, let's put these inside the enclosure. Right away, one of the crickets started to climb along a flower. And I don't blame you if you couldn't see the mantis here because it's in its prime camouflage territory. If us humans have trouble seeing a mantis like this, I can say for a fact that this cricket definitely couldn't see it, and it made a grave mistake of walking too close. The mantis quickly struck at the cricket, but missed. But the mantis wasn't gonna let that stop him. So the next time the cricket came around, he charged up an attack and jumped off the leaf. Yeah, and that kind of just kept happening over and over. I guess they're scared of extra small crickets or something.
Yeah, the mantis couldn't even get a hold of these. I'm giving extra small crickets a 1 out of 10. But for the next pink flower mantis, I'm gonna be testing with him the next size up of crickets. We got some medium crickets. Let's see how these do in the enclosure.
So I went and dumped some of the crickets in and then put the pink flower mantis in. And right away, I noticed that maybe I had put too many crickets in because the mantis was getting absolutely surrounded by them. In fact, he actually looked pretty scared and was trying trying to just stand still to blend in and not get seen by the crickets. And the entire 45 minutes of watching him in this enclosure, I didn't see him strike a single cricket.
Well, I guess just any crickets are not a food source that baby mantises like. So these get a 0 out of 10. Get this trash out of here. However, this next mantis is a bit bigger, and I'm 100% confident he's gonna eat the next food source. Let's go and put him in the enclosure. There you go, boy.
Now for this guy, I'll be feeding him some dubia roaches. They're fast and hard to catch, but they're very nutritious. The mantis ended up walking onto this plastic lid that I had put in the enclosure, so I ended up just putting the roaches on that. And literally instantly, the mantis noticed them and turned on his predator mode. Right away, he struck at them and missed. But he wasn't gonna let that stop him, because then he struck again, and this time he got a perfect hold of the roach. Using their sharp claws, they basically hold the prey in place and lock them, so they can't get out no matter what. Then with its alien mouth, it sucks the juices out of the roach while it's still alive. Yeah, it's extremely brutal, and the whole time the roach was just squirming its little antennas around, but there was nothing it could do.
There we go. That's what a mantis is supposed to do. So I think I'm gonna give the roaches 8 out of 10. And that's because I still think there's room for improvement with this black mantis, because I have one more prey I want to try and feed them. So I'm just gonna go and let this guy loose in the enclosure.
For this guy, I'll be feeding him flightless fruit flies, which is the tiniest of all the preys I've had, meaning it's probably the hardest to catch. But I've also heard mantises love flies, so let's see. Now, it turns out that doing that burnt wood for this enclosure was actually a good idea, because the mantis was just chilling on one of the sticks, waiting for a fly to walk by. And after leaving him alone for a minute, I actually came back to a flightless fruit fly in his hand. It's a pretty cool shot to see the black mantis on the black stick eating a black fly, contrasted with that white background. But I did kind of want to see him strike one of the flies, so I ended up putting him on a white lid and put a fly right up to his face. Right away, he struck at it, and yeah, he started eating this one too. Even though mantises are just some simple little insects, I think they have one of the coolest eating processes out of any animal. And yeah, even though all 4 of my mantises are still really small right now, they should grow up over the coming months and be way bigger soon. So I have a feeling they're gonna make a great addition to my pet. I've gathered the craziest animal videos on the internet. Here they are. For our first crazy video, these guys were exploring a beach cave when this happened. Yeah, they got absolutely pummeled by a bajillion flies. Like, bro, what do you even do in that situation? You probably accidentally breathe in so many of those flies. Hey, I guess it's a little bit of extra protein. Okay, I feel like something could go terribly wrong in this video, because if you can't already tell, this is a real bear just sitting casually on a motorcycle with some humans. Yeah, but the craziest thing is, this bear starts to blow a horn. Nah, they trained this bear to be the car horn. Yeah, but I'm not sure why everyone here is just acting so casually. I mean, I guess this is Russia. I don't know if this is just a normal everyday thing there, but yeah, pretty crazy. Okay, I'll just let this guy explain this next clip.
Hey, y'all want to see the coolest bottle opener in the world?
Yeah, so basically this dude is holding a mouse in one hand and a glass bottle in the other. He then goes and puts the mouse on top of the bottle, holds the bottle up, and nature does its thing.
Break time!
Now, I found some pretty cool videos of shark cage encounters like this one, where the shark very angrily slams into the cage with its mouth open. To be honest, I don't know why people willingly go inside these cages. It looks pretty scary. But if you didn't know, the clips just get crazier and crazier as the video goes on. So obviously in this next clip, the shark that attacked the cage was even more aggressive. The shark grabbed onto the cage sideways and literally would not let go. Everyone was screaming inside, but don't worry, I think they're all safe because they were also laughing. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I would go inside of one of these cages willingly. Okay, someone has to explain this video in the comments to me, because it makes no sense. Obviously, you can see a bird in front of an iPad, but then this bird starts to use the iPad like a human can. And it starts swiping through the pictures, not randomly or anything. Like, actually, this bird knows what it's doing on the iPad. And eventually, he gets to a picture of a sandwich and literally zooms in on it. And he starts doing a happy dance, because apparently he loves sandwiches. What? I genuinely think this bird might be smarter than me. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, you are about to see a bear go above and beyond for a meal, because apparently there's a little worm bug thing in the soil under this tree, and when the bear saw it, he walked up to the tree and he did this. Yeah, bro literally started to knock down the tree until he literally did knock down the tree. And then he proceeded to dig through the rubble for this meal. Good job, bro. Hopefully that was worth the effort for the worm. Nice. Okay, remember that bug swarm clip from earlier? Well, I think I found one that's even funnier. Like, what the heck is going on? This is genuinely pure chaos. Whistles, screaming, car horns, and a billion bugs. Nah, bro, never put me in this situation. Okay, now you might be wondering, why on earth is a snake slithering on a power line? Well, apparently this snake saw some birds up on this power line, so somehow he got up onto here and is now absolutely risking his life to get a meal. I mean, I know some snakes are good climbers, but this has got to be extra risky considering there's no extra tree branches for him to grab onto if he falls. And yeah, I'm not sure what the snake was expecting because birds do actually have wings. Every time the snake got close, the birds kind of just flew away. Yeah, well, good luck getting down, bro, because I have no clue how you even got up here. Okay, this might be the most evil pet owner ever, because look at this.
Rocks, paper, scissors. Paper, scissors.
He taught his bird to say rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then he put him in front of a mirror to infinitely play rock, paper, scissors with himself.
Paper, scissors. Paper, scissors.
So yeah, this bird is in a never-ending game of rock, paper, scissors. Is anyone gonna tell him he's playing against himself? Anybody? Oh, now this one's actually pretty crazy. You see, this dude is an ultra hummingbird enthusiast, but usually hummingbirds are impossible to get close to. So he built this super cool contraption, which he fills with nectar, straps to his head, and then the birds will fly extremely close to his face to drink it. And as long as he doesn't move at all, this just lets him watch and study his favorite birds for hours. Now, this is actually pretty wholesome. Everyone drop W's in the comments for the red hat hummingbird guy. Okay, this will probably be the most monkeys you ever see in one video. I'm not sure where this was recorded or why there's so many monkeys just running in the street, but yeah, there is. So the crazy part of this video is when fireworks randomly went off and of course spooked all the monkeys, causing them to go bananas. Yeah, there is a genuine stampede of monkeys. Are these guys just gonna live in the city now or what? I don't really know. Okay, if I was this diver, I would be so mad because you can see he puts his GoPro camera up to this octopus to try and get some cool footage. But if we switch to the GoPro's view, we can see things quickly started to go wrong because the octopus started to climb out of its hole and actually put one of his tentacles onto the camera. But he didn't stop there because he then completely climbed onto the GoPro so the diver couldn't record anything anymore. Dang, I guess this octopus was camera shy. But thankfully the diver had a backup camera so we could see the struggle he went through to get this octopus off. Yeah, it took about like 2 minutes, but eventually he was successful and the octopus swam back off to the sea floor. And it's cool because you can see the octopus change its color as it swam away to camouflage. Okay, so we all know the story of the tortoise versus the hare. Well, some people actually recreated that in real life. Yeah, might sound stupid because you would just expect the hare to obviously win, but similar to the actual story, halfway through the hare stopped to take a break because he was so far in the lead, but the tortoise was still going with all of his might and overtook the hare and eventually made it to the finish line to win the race. Dang, who knew slow and steady actually really does win the race? Okay, I'm not sure what's up with bears acting like humans in this video because this security camera caught a bear that walked up to this family's car and for some reason it got up on its hind legs like a human and using its arms it just opened the car door casually and started rummaging through the car. I have no clue how it just knew to open the door like that, but yeah, apparently it just ate all the food inside and then just walked away. Animals are getting too smart, I swear. This next clip documents something not many people have successfully been able to record, but basically it shows a caterpillar being born. Oh, but not only that, because it also shows that same caterpillar when it went into its chrysalis stage. And yeah, I just think it's insanely crazy to see the caterpillar crawl out of its old skin and eventually turn from this green shell into a fully grown butterfly, which then eventually is able to crawl out from the chrysalis and is able to restart the life cycle itself. Okay, this bird is about to sing a song and I want you guys to guess what song he's singing. Yeah, he's singing the If You're Happy and You Know It song. And the craziest part is when he taps the beak on the table at the part where you're supposed to clap your hands. Like, how do you even teach your bird to do that? I'm in awe with how smart some of these birds are. Okay, this video basically shows an orangutan from a zoo interacting with a dog. And you won't believe how locked in this dog gets at the orangutan. Because for some reason, the orangutan starts to try and annoy the dog by banging on the glass, which gets the dog so mad. Yeah, this dude looks like he wants blood. And the best part is when the orangutan starts to put a stick through the hole in the glass to tease the dog, but the dog doesn't even budge at this point because he's had enough of this monkey's rage bait. What an interesting interaction. Okay, take a listen to what this guy has to say real quick.
We've got our friendly neighborhood spider who's chilling over here.
And the cockroach.
Yeah, I thought this video was so crazy because it shows why Australians actually love keeping these giant spiders in their house. Because in it, he catches a cockroach from the shower to demonstrate how good these spiders are at hunting. Yep, within like half a second, the spider pounced onto the cockroach and started to devour it. So basically, having these things in your house is like a built-in pest control. As long as you're fine with seeing giant spiders every now and then, which I definitely would not be okay with. Now, this video shows the most insane alien-looking creature on Earth. Yeah, this isn't fake. It's actually a super rare type of moth. But what makes this video even more crazy is usually these moths look like this, without those black hairy things coming out the back. But on special occasions, the males will inflate those things coming out of their body to look like this insane Goliath alien-looking creature. So yeah, this is super rare, and I hope I never see this. Okay, so this may just look like a fun home video of people who found a dancing bug.
I think we should get music to go to a...
But oh, this is not a friendly bug. It's a toe biter, and trust me, I've made a video on getting these guys as a pet, and I know they are not friendly. So that's why I wasn't surprised when this happened. Okay, bro, I just thought that scream was too funny to not show. Let's see that one more time. Okay, I know the quality on this video is so trash, but it's literally because it's just so insane. Because if you look closely, this is a bee and this is a nail. And this bee is pulling the nail out of the wall. Yeah, and that's like the whole video. Like, is that not insane how a bee is pulling a nail out of the wall? This is either the strongest bee ever, or this is the weakest nail ever. Anyways, yeah, he pulled it out so you could go inside the hole. It's actually very smart. Okay, this video just shows another casual day in Australia.
So the owners had come in to have their morning shower and found the snake curled up.
So yeah, I guess living in Australia means you're okay sharing your house with insane animals like massive snakes. But I kind of feel like this snake was just trying to get clean and take a shower. Like, bro, why are you removing him from the shower? And then even worse, they kidnapped him into this big dark bag. Wow. That is just, that's evil. And earlier, I showed shark encounters from inside cages, but now we got shark encounters outside a cage. And this is where things could go seriously wrong. But thankfully, these were trained professionals under the water, so when the sharks started to show signs of aggression, they knew exactly what to do. You see, the sharks kept advancing towards the divers, and they had to actually keep pushing them away with their hands. And eventually, this shark went up to this diver and actually started to take bites at him. The diver quickly tried to use all of his strength to push back the shark, and thankfully after a bit the shark actually did back off. Dang, that was a close call, but thankfully the diver stayed calm and did everything right. There it is. Boring, because literally under this first object I instantly found something deadly. This is a baby giant centipede, which when they get older are known for having some of the most painful bites in the animal kingdom. Since we're in Australia, we're very likely to see a way bigger one soon. Under the second object, I found something I've always wanted to find. Oh my gosh, I thought there was nothing here, but there's a literal massive bug. But that's exactly part of this bug's design. This is a spiny leaf insect, one of the most camouflage insects in existence. You could barely even see it when it was standing on this leaf. Pretty cool. So I kept exploring, and when I got to object number 3, I found nothing. So I'm only gonna show the most interesting animals from now on, which thankfully object number 6 had something super interesting. At first, you may just think these are regular old ants, but if you look closely, it's actually an insane species. They are trapjaw ants, which you can tell by their massively wide trapjaw mandibles. They have these microscopic hairs inside the jaws that when a prey touches it, the jaws snap within a fraction of a second, making it almost impossible for prey to escape. Yeah, Australia is crazy. Now, as I continued on the trail, I was gonna flip this log, but on top, I noticed there was actually a special species of millipede, which apparently has the ability to spit acid out of its mouth. Now, if you didn't know, with me, I I have the backpack, where I pack tons of cool objects to interact with the animals I find. And this time I grabbed a pack of paintbrushes. I wanted to see how this bug would react to being rubbed by one, and yeah, he was pretty mad. Initially, he kept curling up and biting the end of the brush, but eventually I caught it doing this. Yup, it just sprayed its acid defense chemical, which stained the edge of my paintbrush, and yeah, it just kept biting it over and over. Well, sorry for disturbing you, little guy. That was pretty cool to watch, though. Now, as I continued on to object number 11, I found this. It's not a rock, it's actually a termite nest. Yeah, termites will spend years, day by day, constructing a nest out of dirt. Sometimes they even get absolutely massive like this one. Although this one looked like it may have been abandoned, and there was something infiltrating it. Yo, there's like a weird tail thing coming out of this nest. Yeah, it was literally partly inside the termite nest and poking its head out. I thought I had found some undocumented snake species or maybe a leech, but if you actually really focus hard on how this thing is moving, and in specific, this tiny little white thing on the edge of its head, you can tell that this is a baby land planarian. If you don't know what these are, well, they are insanely creepy. In this footage, you can see how they eat. Basically, they go up to an unsuspecting snail or worm, then all of a sudden, they completely wrap around it, releasing a sticky mucus to make it impossible for the prey to escape. Then they push some weird alien tube out their body that they can inject into the prey to then slurp up the insides like a smoothie. Yeah, talk about brutal. I think I'm gonna have to leave you alone. Now, under object number 16, I found a cricket, which I just thought was cool because in America, the crickets are a bright tan color usually, but this one was way darker. Now, I quickly took out the backpack and grabbed a clear container out from inside. Yeah, if you didn't know, these crickets make an excellent food source for other animals I'll find, so I'll be saving here for deadly crocodiles to be swimming in. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be standing so close, actually. Yeah, I don't know why everything in Australia is so deadly, but I went and flipped some rocks along the river, where I, of course, found a little earthworm. Nice. Under another river rock, I found a pretty solid-sized beetle grub. You can see it was quite a bit bigger than my gloved fingertip, but some of these beetle grubs will seriously grow so large over the course of a few years that they may turn into beetles that are just genuinely insane. All right, let me put your rock back, mister. Hopefully you turn into an amazing, massive beetle one day. But as I left the river a little bit, I found easily the weirdest thing yet. Wait a second. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's something moving under this log. Yeah, it was a bunch of extremely weird white things moving around constantly. I had to get out the backpack to grab a flashlight so I can get a better look at what was going on. This gave me a bit of a better view to see that inside of here was tons and tons of super thin legs. But they were just shaking so much that I had no clue what these things were until I poked a stick inside, which gave me a slightly better look at one of them. Yeah, if we pause at the perfect moment, it may look like some sort of spider, but in reality, this is a phantom crane fly. Apparently, footage of these guys is insanely hard to get because, well, they shake like crazy when they detect a predator. But in this rare footage I found, you can see how they fly like an alien spaceship. I'm not even gonna lie, this might be the coolest fly species on Earth. What? For object 29, I flipped some of these dead seed things and found another super cool ant species. You can see by these guys' awesome gold and green color that they are Australian weaver ants. And what's so interesting is you see how this guy has its green abdomen pointing up? Well, that's actually their special ability. While most ants have mandibles or stingers to take down their prey, well, weaver ants literally have an acid spray in their abdomens that they use to either defend themselves like these ants or spray other attacking ants. And yeah, they also build bridges out of their bodies to help the rest of the colony walk across leaves. Talk about a crazy ant species. Now, the next animal I found was actually under a tree. If you look closely, there is actually some sort of bug that looked like it was just floating right under here. I had to put the stick behind it so my camera would focus on it, and after it did, I saw that this is actually a super cool animal called an inchworm. These guys are basically able to float under trees by spinning a tiny thread of silk that connects them to the leaves above so they can just hang from it. But this guy actually climbed onto the stick I was holding, and when I went to put him back, you could see how they have some of the funniest movement. Since their legs are only on the front and back of their body, they just walk around by curling their entire body up like this. Seems like a lot of effort, but yeah, I just put this guy right back. Now, object 41 was this coconut, which I found out something super cool about. But interestingly, I first noticed that there was actually one of those trapjaw ants from earlier biting onto my finger. Yeah, I wasn't joking about how strong these things' jaws are, and he was glued onto my hand just trying to inject his venomous stinger in. Good thing I had these gloves on. Anyways, what is so interesting about this coconut is almost this perfect circle drilled into the side of it. This is not natural. It's actually a sign of a giant white-tailed rat. You see, these things live in the Australian rainforest and find fallen coconuts. They then use their insanely large teeth to drill a massive hole into coconuts, which most animals can't do. Then they drink up all the coconut water and eat some of that tasty white meat on the inside. But after the rat leaves, other bugs also come in here, like these sap beetles, to eat the bacteria that grows inside. Dang, a lot of life in one single coconut. And so I kept on exploring, and when I flipped object 44, I found some of the weirdest springtails I've ever seen. If you didn't know, springtails are tiny little bugs that are usually white, but these ones in Australia I found are bright red. That may not seem super interesting, but if you didn't know, there's a massive market online of people buying and selling super rare springtail species, and apparently 10 Australian red springtails sells for over $30. So yeah, if I was smart, I'd grab these and sell them, but I don't want to interfere with the wildlife, so it was connected to the water here, so I figured I should flip a couple seaside rocks. Under some of them were these aquatic snails with these pretty cool looking shells, and out of other rocks, crabs would dart out looking for cover. I wanted to get a close-up of that crab that ran out, so I flipped the rock right next to it and found an even bigger crab.
Oh, look at him, bro. He's just staring at me with his claws up.
Yeah, you could see, compared to the size of my finger, he could definitely give me a pretty good pinch, but thankfully he went and retreated down into his perfectly placed hole. Now, there was also some tiny fish here that I tried to catch with this net from the backpack, but they were just so unbelievably fast, if you can even see them moving around in this film. The craziest and deadliest ocean life in the world, so I think I'll definitely come back here to make an underwater video one day.
Make sure you're subscribed so when I come back here, you'll get notified about the insane video I make. Anyways, yeah, let's keep exploring.
Now, back in the rainforest, I ended up finding a little log and flipped it. Underneath was just some super tiny, kind of boring ants, which normally I wouldn't show, but as I was watching back this footage, I noticed this leaf had something super cool on it. See all those weird bumps perfectly laid out across the leaf? Well, those are eggs. Apparently, there's a bug called a large leaf-footed bug that lays their eggs on the bottom of leaves and apparently are able to lay them in this perfect brick formation, which I just find interesting how symmetrical it is. As I continued down the rainforest trail, I found something pretty crazy.
Yo, these have got to be the biggest fruits I've seen in my life.
And in fact, this is actually the largest fruit in the world, called a jackfruit. But what was cool was that it was split open by some animal and was completely rotting. Tons of wildlife was eating it up, like these flies, and it even had some little worm larvae things that were just eating their fair share of it too. Must be pretty tasty. Just kidding, that looks absolutely nasty. Now, the next thing I found was under another tree, but my camera wasn't really focusing on it, so I held the backpack up behind it to show you guys what it is. It may look like some sort of moth butterfly thing caught on a spider web, but in fact, this yellow triangle thing is the spider itself. It's a type of northern jewel spider, and yeah, they're born with these crazy, rock-solid, sharp patterns on their back. This makes it so spiders' biggest predators, birds, have a way harder time eating them. The last animal I found in the rainforest section was under this log. It was another crab, but this time it was a land crab, which is a little bit different than the beach crab we found earlier. These guys actually quite enjoy eating crickets, and if you remember in the backpack, I actually caught a cricket in this container earlier in the video, which might kind of not be alive anymore, but it'll still make for some great food. So I brought it over to the crab and waved it around in front of him. He kind of pretended to grab it, but then all of a sudden he darted away so fast into a little puddle. He was probably a little bit scared of me.
Well, I'll leave that with you, little buddy.
On Earth. And that was instantly proven because under this first rock was another baby centipede, but this guy was still pretty small. However, I'm super confident we're gonna find a way bigger one. Now, under this little piece of bark, there wasn't actually anything, but I did see something running around in the corner of my eye, so I went to try and catch it. When I did, I realized it was a burrowing frog, which apparently didn't want to be with me because it just jumped straight off my hand, but a frog means there's likely water nearby. And after walking around a little bit, I found this little pool.
Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in here.
I wanted to get a closer look at some of the stuff in here, so I once again took out the backpack, and once again grabbed out that clear container. This let me scoop up some of the wildlife in there, which allowed me to catch the first aquatic animal, a tadpole. This is likely the same species of frog that I had just found, so it's pretty cool we found this. Anyways, the second animal I was able to scoop out of here was quite a bit different. This super weird, almost alien-looking creature is actually a dragonfly larva. Yeah, we've all seen dragonflies. They're pretty insane, cool-looking bugs. But yeah, apparently they start just as weird as babies living under the water. Now, finally, I was seeing one last creature in this pool of water, so I scooped it up. Yeah, these things are almost microscopic in size, but this is either some sort of water beetle or a type of shrimp. I can't really tell which one because of how blurry my footage was. But these guys are probably one of the main foods 72, where something actually pretty cool did appear. If you look closely, this is a completely bright white spider. I have never seen a completely solid white spider, but apparently these are this color because it helps reflect the sunlight as it just gets so hot in these Australian deserts. This next rock also had something pretty cool. It was giant wood cockroaches. But what was even cooler was that right next to these guys was this bug running around. This is a top whittler bug, and apparently it's in the same family of bug that laid those crazy eggs earlier in the video. I'm happy we got to find one of these. But finally, after quite a lot of rock flips later of nothing, I finally found something I was looking for. And it kind of scared me when I first flipped the rock, but finally I had found a fully grown giant centipede. These things are crazy fast, so I kept getting spooked whenever it looked in my direction. But yeah, apparently despite having some of the most painful bites, it doesn't even have teeth. It actually injects its venom through 2 of its front legs that have been modified to attack prey. And while other invertebrates just go for small insects like scorpions, centipedes are known to take down literal lizards for lunch. Pretty crazy. Thankfully, the next rock that had something under it also didn't disappoint. Out from underneath ran a little type of velvet gecko. I didn't get to see it for long, but geckos are always pretty cool to find just because of how interesting of an animal they are. They're also some of the most common pet reptiles kept by people. Now, these next rock flips all rapid fire because I wasn't finding anything super insane, but I did find some termites finally. Also, I found this kind of cool grasshopper which just jumped into the grass, and I found a super cute caterpillar with a pretty unique pattern. If you're wondering, this caterpillar species turns into this pretty cool moth. But to find the best rock I could that could have a snake under it, I needed to find a rock like this that had a little gap under it where a snake could be. But thankfully, it didn't take too long till I ended up finding this.
Oh, yo, is that a lizard tail or is that a snake?
But as I moved my camera to get a better angle, I was almost certain I had found the body of a snake here. So I very carefully moved the rock to get a little bit of a better look at what was under here. Thankfully, this didn't look like one of Australia's deadly snakes. In fact, based off the pattern, it looked like a Stimson's python, which take down their prey by constricting it, not with venom.
I swear, every single rock flipping video, I find something cool on the last rock. But dang, I mean, I don't really want to stress you out, bro, so I guess I'll just leave.
Honestly, I found so many cool and unique bugs that made this trip worth it, but I know Australia has so much more to offer in regards to crazy animals, so I'm definitely coming back out here one day to make a part 2. Subscribe.
I'm gonna buy 2 of these things. Let's just get this checked out.
So in this video, I'm gonna build a home for them, show off everything about keeping a pet leech, and literally let them suck on my arm. Yes, I am not kidding. I'm gonna let them do that, and I might get some unknown deadly virus. This is easily gonna be my weirdest pet. Anyways, until the leeches got delivered, I got out a 20-gallon aquarium and a ton of rocks to get its enclosure built. Step 1 to make its home is to make a rock arch. To do that, I got out some water-safe spray foam and sprayed the entire left side of the enclosure, and then I covered it with some lava rocks. You see, leeches spend most of their time in the water, but they actually have the ability to crawl on land like a worm. And basically, by connecting all these rocks with foam, I was able to build an arch here that I could cover with dirt to make the land portion of this enclosure. On the land, I put some very simple decorations like a piece of wood, some carpet moss, and a small plant to complete it.
Alright, the land area is looking pretty nice and small and cozy, and it's gonna be so cool to see the leeches swim onto the land so they can eat food and stuff. Oh, and also if you're wondering where I got this beautiful plant, it's of course from Walmart. Gotta keep the channel's tradition going, you know.
Anyways, step 2 of this enclosure is to create the water portion. Now I started by getting out some of this black aqua soil stuff and putting a layer of it down because it'll allow us to grow some beautiful luscious plants in here. But first I covered the soil with a layer of sand and started to scatter giant river rocks along the bottom. I figured it'd be cool to make this place look like the bottom of a river since that's where leeches live in the wild. To finish the river look in here, I put some smaller river rocks around, and then I put some extra small tiny river rocks around, and then I put some extra tiny small river rocks around, which aren't really rocks anymore, they're just kind of like gravel, but yeah. Anyways, now it's time for the aquatic plants. I used my artistic skills to find the most optimal locations to plant each plant, and by that I mean I just put them around randomly, but after putting them all in, it actually looked pretty cool.
Alright, dang, this is actually gonna look pretty good once I add water in here. And also, it turned out really good how that rock arch makes like a little cave there. That's gonna be really cool. I guess the leeches are gonna be able to swim there or something.
Anyways, leeches are freshwater creatures, so I just filled the enclosure up with some normal water, you know, pretty simple stuff, and in no time it was done.
All right, I'm liking the look of this a lot, but if you look at the dirt, it's absorbed the water and it's super moist and it kind of looks like mud right now. Now, because the humidity's so high right here, mold can actually grow, which is of course not good for the leeches. But don't worry, because I have the perfect solution right here.
Inside of this container, I had some little insect creatures delivered to me for step number 3, the mold cleanup crew. These are springtails, which you may have seen before, but I have a cool idea for them this time. They're basically just super tiny white insects that I guess eat mold when it grows in here. And yeah, there's tons of these things in here, so I just dumped the whole container on the land.
All right, I think it'd be really cool to get a time lapse of these little guys eating. And since there's no mold in here right now, apparently their second favorite food is yeast, which is like a fungus or something. I don't really know. You use it to bake bread. But basically, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit right here and we'll see what they do. I don't even know if this is gonna work.
So I waited for the springtails to absolutely devour the yeast up, and they were all kind of gathering up around it, looking like they were probably eating it. And as you can see, this part of the yeast kind of changed. I don't know if that's just because it soaked up the water from the dirt or what. I guess I only record the springtails for like 30 minutes, so it's not a very eventful time lapse, but this is what it looked like at the end. Now for step number 4 of completing this enclosure, we gotta put some technology in here like always to make it super good. Now first of all, I got out this machine, which you may have seen in some of my previous videos. Basically, when I turn this little dial, out of the end of the tube, a bunch of fog comes out. So I set that up on the side of the glass and let it run for a minute.
Dang, check this out. It completely transforms it from being kind of boring to like super spooky. And honestly, it's a little bit too much fog. Let me get some of this out of here. Okay, that's better. But you know, it's cool. Adds to the atmosphere. Leeches are pretty spooky. And you know, I'm going to be letting it stuck on my arm. It's not going to be fun.
Anyways, for the second technology, well, this one's a little useless, but it's cool.
Okay, so I was walking around Target earlier and saw these little robot turtle toys on sale for about like $8. And I think it'll just be funny to put these in the water with the leech, you know, once we add them in. But let's just test them out real quick to see what they look like. Okay, I got it. And I think you just like press these buttons and oh, okay, its arms are moving. I guess let me just put it in the water. Let's see what this thing can do. And, oh, it's moving. And it's just swimming into the glass. Okay, I guess it's kind of cool. Okay, it's not that cool to be honest. Well, let me put it on land. Let's see if it can walk on land. And, yeah, okay, can't walk on land.
Well, this enclosure is now 100% complete and ready for probably the weirdest pet I have ever got to be put inside, the leeches. So I guess just cut to when I get that package.
All right, supposedly in this box are the leeches. I just got them shipped. I still can't believe we're gonna be keeping these as pets, and I'm literally gonna be letting it suck on my arm. This is not gonna be fun at all, but it's gonna be pretty entertaining. But hey, let's just go get these guys in their enclosure. We don't want them in their shipping box anymore. Let's go.
So I brought the box inside and opened it up.
Oh nah, bro. The leeches are inside this little foam box. I do not even want to open this up.
Inside the box was a little plastic container with water and the leeches, which I moved into this bigger container of water. And well, here they are, my new pet. Aren't they so cute?
Oh, are you seeing this? This is so disgusting. This guy's just climbing up the side of the enclosure. They're already trying to escape.
But despite how nasty they were, I had to transport them to their new home, so I tried to scoop them out.
Okay, I got one of them up against the wall in this little container, and I'm just gonna try and scoop it up. Oh, there we go. Oh, shoot, it's not going good. Oh, no, is this thing trying to escape right now? No, this is not the time. Can you please go back in the container? Oh my gosh, it's just on my table.
But eventually I got it back in, and I was able to put both the leeches into their new home. And right after dropping them in, it didn't take long for the leeches to start swimming around and be super active. Basically, how leeches work is they mostly get around by swimming around just like this, like how a sea snake would. But on one end of their body, they actually have a little suction cup so that they can grab onto walls and rocks so they can stay still. And of course, on the other end of their body is the mouth that they use to, of course, grab onto animals with.
Okay, as you guys know, these leeches get most of their food by sucking the blood out of other animals. But before I feed them my own blood, I kind of want to fill them up just at least a little bit by feeding them some other type of food. And apparently Google says one of the best things to feed them is raw liver from the grocery store. And I don't really have any of that, so I guess let me just go get it.
So I drove over to Walmart and found some of that raw beef liver that supposedly the leeches will eat.
Dang, check this stuff out. It's only $2.44 per packet of it. That is why we shop at Walmart, everybody. And it does look pretty nasty, but I'm pretty sure the leeches are gonna eat this. I don't know. Let's just go home and figure out.
So when I got home, I opened the packet up and got a little raw raw piece of liver out.
All right, well, we got the beef liver right here. It's kind of nasty, I'm not gonna lie. Slimy and everything. And hey, the leech are out and about right now, so I think I'm just gonna drop it in right there. Hopefully it doesn't make the water dirty or anything.
I let the meat sit there for about 15 minutes, but the leeches didn't end up finding it. So instead, I just picked it up and brought it right over to one of them. Immediately, that first one picked up the scent or something and latched onto it. So while that leech rode the piece of meat, I brought it over to the second one, and that guy immediately latched onto it too. And yeah, I just let them go crazy on it, eating it up for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, these leeches are absolutely devouring this piece of meat. I gotta make sure they don't get filled up on this meat, because I still gotta eat meat. Can you guys come off, please? Oh my gosh, if they're this hard stuck on the meat, what are they gonna do when they're on my arm? I don't know, bro. This is not gonna be fun, though. All right, it's the next day, and the leeches are still doing good. And anyways, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Well, I haven't been waiting for it, but I'm gonna let the leeches go on my arm now. So let me wait for my mom to get home so she can record that, and also I wanna see how she reacts to this new pet leech. Okay, Mom, you can come in now. All right, hi.
Hi.
I'm just bringing you in here because I want to show you my new pet. All right, so basically just look at its cage, and I want you to guess what's in there.
Oh my god.
Do
Dude.
you see anything in there?
Yeah, it's in the jar.
Yeah, right
It's
there.
disgusting,
In the
dude.
jar. I had to put it in a jar just because
Is it a centipede?
a centipede is
I
underwater.
don't know.
That's a leech.
No, dude.
A pet
Dude,
leech.
no.
Isn't a pet leech cool?
No. Is it the sucking of the blood leech?
Basic, yeah, sucks your blood. But you know, we gotta feed it.
Oh, right. I see where you're gonna go with this not happening.
Yeah, don't worry. We're definitely not gonna be feeding it anyone's blood. But I want to show you this thing you see on top. You can put fog inside.
That's neat.
But I don't only have fog. We also got some turtles.
Some little turtles.
Yeah, they just kind of move around. They're kind of cool.
Why is it in a jar like that, though?
Oh, you're wondering why it's in a jar? So basically, it's in a jar because I need to do something with it, and I need you to record me do something with it.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the leech up, and I'm just gonna take all the water out, and then I'm just gonna put this upside down right here. And basically I need you to take my phone and record me sucking the blood out of my arm.
No, you're not gonna do that.
Yes, I have to
No,
do
we're
it.
not, dude. Why do you have to do that?
Because I said I would do it at the start of the video.
Oh, right.
I'm just gonna take the jar and put it here.
Oh my gosh,
So it does
no.
something.
Why are we doing this?
Don't worry.
No, dude.
So this might take like a couple minutes. I don't
For
know.
it to even get out of there?
Yeah, you see how the suction cup is on the jar?
Yeah. Here, maybe I can like it.
Okay, it could happen right now. It could happen right now.
No. No!
Okay, it's biting me.
No, why are we doing this again?
Go back a little bit.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Okay, it's biting me right now and it's sucking my blood. I feel the blood coming out of my arm.
Oh my god,
Okay.
no. Ew.
It
Is
feels
it?
so weird.
Does it?
So basically, it's injecting like a chemical in my blood right now to make it run faster so it can suck more blood out. Oh!
Oh my god, are you serious? Is this, can it really harm you?
Well,
Does
no,
this do
hopefully
anything
not.
to you?
So I don't know how to get this off actually.
No, I'm flicking it off.
No, so you can't flick it off. Okay, so the teeth are like going harder into my body. So some people feed these for like 3 hours at a time, but yeah, I'm not doing all that.
Oh my gosh, they actually let them feed your blood for 3 hours.
Yeah, you just kind of want to like trick its teeth into like scaring it, you know, so it'll unbite it. All right, and just like that. Get off, get off, get off, get off.
Oh my god, get up.
Ah, bit me again. There we go, just like that. It's all fine and dandy. So that's my new pet.
What? No, dude, let's just throw it in the toilet.
Okay, we're not gonna do that. Don't worry, because we got princess band-aids right here to heal the wound.
gosh.
And we got some cream or something I guess you gotta put on it.
Neosporin, yeah.
Okay, so first we just gotta get the cream, put some on there like that. Maybe that's a little too much. And then we have our princess band-aid, so we just take that out. Oh, I don't know who that is, but it's a very pretty princess. And boom, just like that, we just fed our pet leech.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there, you wanna try?
Nope,
Your turn.
absolutely not. No, or just throw it in the toilet.
Well, I just let a leech suck the blood out of my arm, so please subscribe, especially if you enjoyed the video. This is 50 Venus flytrap plants, and in this video, I'm gonna put 1,000 flies in the same container as them. Will the sheer number of flies trick the traps, causing them to close, or are the flies just simply cooked?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's why I bought this.
This is 1,000 fly larvae. Yeah, might look extremely nasty, but over the next week, as as long as I feed them food, they should all turn into flies so I can do this test.
So while we wait for these guys to turn into flies, obviously I have all of these Venus flytraps. But I also have tons of other carnivorous plants that you may have never even seen before. Meaning I'm gonna be able to do tons of different tests in this video. It's gonna be super cool.
And for test number 1, I want to show you guys the smallest Venus flytraps.
Now, I know it may sound stupid, but I promise you how they work and catch insects is actually really insane. Let me show you how they work.
And yeah, it's not a joke how small these things are, because when compared to normal Venus flytraps, the jaws are about 10 times smaller. And in fact, they're kind of cute, to be honest.
But since these are minuscule, the normal prey I feed in my videos is not gonna cut it. Yeah, sorry cricket, you get to live another day. That's why instead, I got literally the smallest thing available.
These are flightless fruit flies, which if you've seen my channel before, you know they're pretty much the most useless animal. Cause seriously, bro, how are you a fly that doesn't have the ability to fly? That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, I put the smallest Venus flytraps in the testing enclosure, then I put one of these flies inside to see if he'd get caught. Start the timer. Now this fly didn't waste any time, because it immediately walked straight up to one of the Venus flytrap pots, and then started to walk all over the tops of the jaws, absolutely risking his life. You may already know this, but normal Venus flytraps work by having these super tiny trigger hairs inside of them that when a bug or something touches them, it snaps shut. But these traps are obviously the smallest in the world. Because of that, they have extremely small trigger hairs. And I'm talking so small that if I zoom in like 100x on this footage, they're so thin, my camera can't even pick them up. And I guess the trigger hairs were quite literally so thin that every time this flightless fruit fly walked inside the jaw of a trap, the jaw didn't close at all, and the fly was able to just walk out. I mean, it kind of makes sense. These flightless fruit flies weigh about 0.0003 grams. So yeah, I guess the traps quite literally can't even be triggered by how light their weight is.
Yeah, clearly the fruit flies aren't gonna work. So instead, I got the world's smallest cricket instead to test. Let's see if this works any better.
And oh boy, let me just tell you, things were a lot more interesting this time around. Because once again, the cricket walked straight up to one of the trap pots and started climbing all over the tops once again. But this time, quite literally within 30 seconds, the cricket happened to put his face up to the lip of one of the Venus flytraps. You may also already know this, but these plants produce a special kind of nectar around the lips of their jaws to lure insects in like this cricket. And you can see it was working pretty well, because this cricket was just absolutely slurping this nectar up. But he was getting a bit too distracted, because he then stepped into the trap, probably stepping on the micro trigger hairs, which then caused the jaws of it to close. But the cricket was too fast, and he was barely able to make it out with his life. Dang, that was a close call, but you can see how quickly that can all happen. And yeah, don't worry guys, because there's only a few minutes later when the cricket did the same exact thing. He walked up to another jaw, walked straight into it, and yeah, this time the trap closed on him while he was starting to walk out, leaving half of his body now sticking out of the trap. Even though these are the smallest Venus flytraps in the world, they trap insects nearly just as well as the fully grown ones. It's pretty interesting. And yeah, while I wait for those 1,000 flies to hatch so we can do the final test, in the meantime, I want to show you some other insane carnivorous plants that you may have never seen before, with the second one being sundews.
Yep, everyone knows what Venus flytraps are, but not everyone knows what a sundew is, but they're actually pretty cool. Let me show you what they do.
So obviously, like flytraps, sundews are also a carnivorous plant, except instead of having jaws, it has these long stems with these little red hairs on the top of them. But on each of these little red hairs is a special kind of sticky glue it produces that will make it so when a fly or any other insect touches it, it gets permanently stuck because of how sticky it is.
And when an insect gets stuck on here, the trap does something insane to be able to consume the insect, which I'll show you very soon when it obviously traps an insect.
So yeah, I got multiple of these sundew plants, and I even got this slightly different kind of sundew called an octopus plant. That will be cool to see if this can catch any insects as well. So let's get these in the testing chamber.
And for this, I think I'll be using a cricket once again, because they're literally perfect. They can just climb up the side of the stems and yeah, just get stuck. This should be fun to watch. Let's put this dude inside.
So yeah, once again, I just started with one of these guys, but if this guy gets caught fast, I'll be adding way more inside of here. Anyways, this cricket for the first minute kind of just wandered around the walls of the enclosure, but it wasn't long until he started heading towards the sundews. Now you see, the sticky glue that this plant produces is actually a type of nectar, which smells and tastes great to the insects. So yeah, just like how Venus flytraps lure insects in with their nectar, these traps do the same thing, because this cricket then decided to start climbing up the stem. The only thing is though, that he ended up stopping right before the sticky part, and that's actually because of his antenna. You see, crickets have these pretty long antennas that help help them navigate and detect danger before running into it. And this guy's antenna actually ended up getting stuck in the sticky nectar part. But using its mouth, it was able to pull the antenna back and then started to lick all the nectar off of it. Yeah, and I'm not kidding. This cricket really just sat here for like 30 minutes, constantly licking his antenna, then putting it back into the sticky nectar, and then licking it back up. He was kind of outsmarting this carnivorous plant and just getting its nectar for free. So I'm not gonna lie, I just tried to push him towards it with my tweezers since he clearly wasn't gonna do it on his own. And yeah, he just kind of ended up falling off.
Yo, what the heck? I was just trying to record that cricket and I just realized there's a jumping spider in here. Do you see that? It's on the little octopus plant. Is it stuck?
Yeah, this jumping spider just happened to wander into this enclosure by accident. I guess he was just living somewhere in my house. But since he was here, I figured I'd just watch him to see if he would get caught by the traps. And pretty quickly, he started to climb the stems of the trap and got up to the sticky part. But yeah, he was kind of too smart for this trap too and turned around the second he realized it was sticky. But it was pretty cool to watch this guy just jump around the plants. However, he never really ended up getting trapped and he ended up just climbing out of the enclosure.
All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie. This cricket, I've been trying to record him getting eaten for like 2 hours now. And every time right before going on the sticky part, he just stops and cleans his antenna. And yeah, he just turns around and never actually goes on the sticky part. He's too smart for this. So yeah, let me take this guy out.
Instead, I actually just got out the flightless fruit flies again, because apparently this is actually Sundu's favorite insect. And yeah, I just dumped a few on the sand, and it wasn't long until some of them started to climb all over the stems and eventually started getting stuck all over the different sticky parts. I even went and just dumped a crazy amount of these flies all over the top of the Sundew plants to show you guys exactly how cool Sundews really are. Because obviously, now you can see the sticky parts of the plants are just completely covered in flightless fruit flies. Now, if you're wondering how this plant actually eats the flies, well, this footage shows how. As you can see, it uses each of its red hairs to basically curl around the prey. And once all of those curl around it, the stem itself also starts to curl around the prey. This will basically ensure the fly has a 0% chance of escaping, while the plant releases basically an acid to consume it. Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
So yeah, it's pretty cool to see these things work. All these flies are just gonna turn into food for these plants very soon.
All right, there's still one more major carnivorous plant type that I haven't shown yet. They're called pitcher plants.
Yep, this plant can also eat insects. And actually how it does it is probably the most brutal out of all of them. Let me show you.
Yep, like I said, these are called pitcher plants. And similar to the last plant, they have pretty long stems that go up. But the difference is this time at the top, there's this little trapdoor leaf thing that if you look is actually covering a hole that leads directly down to a pit of acid at the bottom of the stem. Yep, these traps have this little hole here that's lined with a super slippery nectar on the inside. So whenever an insect walks inside, they'll slip into the acid at the bottom, and yeah.
And what's really cool is if you actually look inside of this pitcher plant, since it's kind of small and shallow, you can actually see the pool of acid at the bottom. And it actually looks like there's a couple little flies and stuff in there, which it looks like it's actually already dissolving. So yeah, it'd be cool to see some crickets or something fall in these. Let's test it out.
I didn't even need to use an enclosure this time because I knew this was going to be an extremely fast test. Because immediately after placing the cricket on this first pitcher plant, it started to climb along the sides of the red pitcher. As you can see, the inside of the plant is lined with these downward pointing hairs. This is to make it even more slippery and hard to escape. And yeah, it's kind of funny to see how fast this all happens, but the next time the cricket went to the opening of this plant, it straight up just slipped in right away. Nah, this dude had no clue this plant has evolved over millions of years to just be able to eat them this fast. Yeah, and as you can see on this footage that I recorded on my phone, he was now just sitting at the bottom of this pool of acid. Over the next few days, it'll dissolve him and turn him into nutrients for this plant to grow even stronger and larger. Nice.
And yeah, that's really all there is to these pitcher plants. They're not really the most interesting thing ever. But I actually have some great news, guys, because if you look in this container, you can see many of my flies are starting to hatch.
And that means we can finally start doing some massive scale Venus flytrap tests and eventually test as many flies as I can against all of my Venus flytraps to see who wins. Let's start very simple though with 5 Venus flytraps versus a single fly. And let's see if this fly can get trapped in under a minute. Now I know you may be thinking, bruh, Terra Green, I don't care about one fly, this is boring. Well, don't worry, because this literally only lasted like 20 seconds. Because immediately this fly started to crawl up the side of a pot, and of course he made his way immediately into a jaw, triggered one of the hairs, and it closed directly onto him. Yup, flies are basically the one thing Venus flytraps are the best at catching. hatching. I mean, they're called Venus flytraps for a reason.
Anyways, I got the tank where the final test will be taking place, right here, obviously.
And I didn't waste any time. I just got out the flies that I've been hatching, and I put them straight into this enclosure so we could get this final test started. Quickly, I removed the lid and started the timer. Let the test begin. Now, immediately, a couple of the flies started to fly out of the container, and others started to walk out of the sides. Now, there was something weird, though, because while the container had a decent amount of movement in it, only like 10 of the flies were actually leaving the container over the 4-hour time lapse here. Yeah, basically all the flies were staying in there. So I decided to just take the paper towel out that they were all on and tried to just shake off as many as I could onto the Venus flytraps. And obviously, this meant that a few of the flies were now scattered all over the traps and were actually starting to get trapped. But most of them were just being super inactive, barely moving, and not flying. I guess because they were just newly hatched flies and it takes a while for them to become normal.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys, this is kind of a fail. Basically, none of the flies are flying around, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this.
But don't worry, because my YouTube friend Flytrap Films recorded a test with an insane amount of flies super similar to this, and he wanted me to show you it. In it, you can see he has a Venus flytrap plant out, and also a bunch of rotten meat in order to attract the flies. Yeah, and it worked really well, because instantly tons of flies started to gather around this plant, and you guessed it, started to get trapped. I mean, when you have this many flies, it's a given that tons are just gonna get trapped right away. And what's so crazy is that sometimes so many would gather on some of the jaws before they close, causing up to 6 flies to get trapped in the same jaw at the same time. What? Flytrap Films himself said that this is the most flies he's ever seen get caught at once. Also, some bonus footage for you guys. Hey, you remember those pitcher plants from earlier? Flytrap Films also did the same test with a massive pitcher plant to show you guys how effective these things are at catching flying insects. And this plant literally just looks like a vacuum cleaner sucking up all the flies, which in a way it kind of is, because every time a flying insect flaps its wings above the opening in this plant, it creates a weird kind of vacuum effect with the wind, causing the bug to actually get pulled down into it. And yup, after not too much time, this thing just caught so many flies, and it was literally just starting to overflow. That is probably the craziest performance from a carnivorous plant that I have ever seen. Thank you, Flytrap Films, for letting me show you this footage. I went out and got 5 levels of insect stings that get progressively more painful, and I got my friend named Sai to take on this sting challenge.
I'm here to get stung by a couple insects, yeah?
Yep, that's right. And if you look at this paper, it's actually gonna start with only $100 if you take on the first sting, but by the end, you'll be able to win $10,000 if you take on the last sting.
$10,000 is no small amount of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. What's the $100 though?
$100, why don't you go and peel that off? You can figure out what it is.
Ants?
Yep, for $100, you're gonna have to put your hand on an ant nest for 30 seconds, meaning you might get stung multiple times. Are you still down to do this?
Still down.
Oh, you're still down. Let's go. Come on, follow me.
So I took them down a trail by my house till we found a harvester ant nest. Despite these guys being pretty small, they actually have pretty painful stings. But yeah, it's pretty much nothing compared to the stings later in this video.
For $100, put your hand on the ant nest in 3, 2, 1.
Now, Sai has to keep his hand here for 45 seconds to win, but unfortunately it wasn't looking good for him because immediately workers started to swarm onto his hand.
It's super tickly. I haven't gotten bitten yet.
No stings or anything?
Not yet.
You're straight up on their nest and they're not even defending it. These ants suck.
But oh boy, did things quickly start escalating, because out of nowhere, like 15 more ants started swarming onto his hand to investigate what it was. Still not stinging it though.
Do you feel anything?
It's just super tickly. I don't know if I haven't felt anything sharp just yet.
And I was thinking he wasn't gonna get stung at all as the timer started to run out. 3, 2, 1, and...
Oh! Oh my god! Ow! Oh!
Yeah, so apparently Sai literally got stung at the very last second, but by just one ant, thankfully.
Oh, that's sharp. That feels really sharp. It's like a tiny little needle. That feels really sharp.
But the thing is, that was only sting number 1. This video still has a way crazier stings coming up, ending with the cow killer.
You can either take the $100 right now, or you can say yes to the $500 challenge. What are you thinking?
You know what? Let's do it. $500.
All right, follow me.
Alrighty.
Now, I quickly brought Sai to the place where the second insect sting was going to take place.
Welcome, Sai. You said you wanted to take on the $500 sting challenge. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, then. Why don't you go and just peel that off?
And so he peeled the sticky note off.
A wasp?
Yup, it's a wasp.
Oh man, I remember being super young and getting stung by one of these. I cried for 3 hours.
Oh, and this is only the $500 sting. The 10,000 sting is a lot worse, but don't worry, you can walk away at any time if you want.
No, this is only level 2. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, okay, I like that.
So I got out the container that had a wasp inside. This is a yellow jacket, and they're known for their insanely sharp sting. So this should be pretty interesting.
All right, Sai, let's waste no time. You got the wasp there. He looks pretty angry. For $500, get your arm out and put that cup on your arm.
Alrighty.
Yup, so we went and put the cup on his arm at the place where he was gonna get stung.
All right, Sai, I'm gonna start pulling it out. Oh, wow, this thing is getting mad. All right, I'm just gonna pull the paper towel out and let's see if it stings. It's really mad, Sai.
It's getting mad.
Pause. By the way, I gotta mention this, but do not try this at home, obviously. As a YouTuber, I've taken tons of safety precautions behind the scenes to make sure this is a safe test. And similar to why Coyote Peterson gets stung by all those crazy bugs, our goal today is to figure out which bug actually has the craziest sting and make an entertaining video. Anyways, let's get back to the wasp. Yep, this dude was furious trying to escape, but wasn't immediately stinging, surprisingly. I think because the wasp didn't even know that there was an arm under him. He might have just thought that this was floor under him.
Let me tap the side of the glass. Maybe we can get him mad. Sting him. $500, Mr. Wasp.
It's literally on my skin, bro. Just stick it in already.
And thankfully, Sai's wish came true immediately after he said that, because this happened.
Okay.
Wait, you actually just got stung, Sai?
Yep. It definitely hurts more than I remember.
How much is it hurting, like out of 10, you would say?
A 6 or 7 out of 10.
6 or 7? Come on, bruh.
And yeah, if he's already saying these are about a 6 out of 10 on the pain level, then I can't even imagine what he's gonna say the cow killer sting at the end is. Should be fun.
So, you've officially won $500, but the big question is, are you gonna want to take on the $1,000 challenge?
You know, the wasp wasn't the worst thing in the world. Definitely worse than the ants, but I think for $1,000, whatever's next is worth it.
Really? For $1,000?
I'm gonna do it for $1,000.
Bro, this could be like super painful. You're just gonna do it?
I'm just gonna do it.
All right, here's the $1,000. We'll put that there.
So, I peeled off the sticky note to reveal the animal.
Oh, it's a crab.
Yeah, it's a crab.
It's kind of cute though.
Yeah.
It won't be that bad.
Oh, okay.
Now, Sai is right. Usually crab pinches are not as painful as insect stings. But the reason I'm having Sai get pinched instead of stung for this round is actually to prepare him for the $2,500 round, where he's gonna be getting stung by something that not only has a stinger, but it also has pinchers. Anyways, I opened up the box that the crab was inside of so I could show Sai what he was about to be getting pinched by in this round. And here it is, a rainbow land crab.
All right, so we got the crab out the container, as you can see, and what are you thinking of it? First impressions.
It's very colorful, and the claw on the left there is kind of big, but...
Yep, crabs actually have one big claw to use for extra crushing power, so hopefully Sai gets pinched by that. But actually, something I noticed about this crab was that it was actually injured. You see, normally crabs are supposed to have 4 legs on both sides of their bodies, but this dude only has 2 legs on this side of his body. I'm not sure how he lost 2 of his legs, but because of this, I wanted to make sure I built this guy a nice little enclosure. That way he'd have a place to rest after the pinch test. But yeah, don't worry, this didn't take long because we just immediately started to spam place a bunch of rocks all along the side of the enclosure. Now, this may look kind of like trash, but I'm actually trying to recreate a rocky coastal environment that these crabs are used to in the wild.
All right, could you help me outside? Could you pour the water in?
Yeah, I got you.
Let's get this crab a nice home. Oh, yeah, yep, get that water in. Yep, you're pretty good at this.
He's swimming forever.
After we got the water in, I started to scatter around some of these random decorations, and obviously I planted some plants in the water, because it wouldn't be a Terra Green enclosure without some. Finally, I put some final technology in, like a filter and a water heater, so we could have this build finished. Anyways, yeah, we quickly introduced this crab into the enclosure, and it seemed like he liked it. And he immediately found some nice little places to hide at. But obviously, Sai has a $1,000 to win. Let's do this test.
All right, Sai, for $1,000, you can go ahead and take the crab out of the container and yeah, just get pinched. Do it however you want, just take it out.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, you're just gonna let it crawl out. Let's see this.
So yeah, immediately the crab ran straight up to Sai's finger and it looked like he meant business. But Sai actually thought the best way to do this test would be to pick up the crab. So yeah, that's what he did.
All right, so you got a hold of it. That's a pretty smart move, but all right, his pinchers are ready.
All right, let's do it.
Go ahead.
So Sai started to put his finger up to the claw of the crab, and the crab crab started to give the most vicious, brutal pinch of all time, as you can see. I'm just kidding. It was barely pinching.
What are you feeling?
Not much. I mean, he's kind of just sleeping, it seems like.
Bro, what is this crab doing? You're holding him in his hand, like, and he's just grabbing on.
We're best friends. We're holding hands. I mean, this guy's my friend. Can I keep him?
Yeah, actually, it was kind of funny how friendly this crab was. I mean, it genuinely just looks like the crab is hugging Sai's arm here. It's actually kind of cute.
All right, Sai, would you say that was easy or hard?
I think that was the easiest thing I've ever done.
Well, I didn't tell you about the second part of the challenge where you got to let that crab actually pinch your cheek on your face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, he really thought the crab was so weak that he was genuinely smiling and happy to do this.
It's licking me.
It's licking you.
I feel like it is. Kind of wet.
Yeah, it is a crab.
That's a fair point.
But yeah, if you couldn't already assume, the crab also didn't really do any real damage here. He just kind of gave it the slightest little pinch ever.
Well, Sai, that might have been the freest $1,000 of your entire life.
Possibly.
But remember, the only reason I wanted Sai to get pinched by a crab is to prepare him for our next animal.
All right, Sai, we're so close to the final animal sting for $10,000. But first, we still got to do the $2,500 sting, and I got the money right here. Do you want to say yes to that sting?
Based off how easy the last one was, I think we do it. It can't be that hard compared to the crab.
Oh, you want to do it? Let's peel this off.
So I took the sticky note off to reveal the next sting, a giant desert hairy scorpion.
So, Sai, you got to get stung by America's largest scorpion species.
Okay, that's probably gonna be a lot worse than the crab.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, you know what? For $2,500, I think we can tank it.
Let's do it.
But you could tell Sai was starting to get a lot more skeptical. And this time, he wanted to spend a bit of time to research online to figure out if it was actually safe to get stung by a desert hairy scorpion. Now, these guys got pretty painful venom, but of course, everything I've chosen in this video is completely safe for Sai to get stung by. It's just a bit painful, of course.
So, Sai, what do you think? Is this something you're down to get stung by after researching on Google?
Yeah, I mean, based off what Google said, seems pretty safe, but it's definitely gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt, but for $2,500, I mean, what do you expect? Let's do this. Yeah, can you get your finger out? Yep, and can you get it inside?
So yeah, at first Sai wasn't really sure of how to get stung, so he kind of just started to tap the scorpion's claws and stuff to see if he could get it mad. But you see, scorpions are actually nocturnal, so I knew it was pretty unlikely that this dude was just gonna randomly sting Sai since we were recording during the day. And after like a minute or two of Sai very fearfully putting his finger around and even on the scorpion, my theory was proved right because the scorpion was actually being very chill and not even stinging him once. You see, when people like Coyote Peterson did their scorpion sting tests, they actually grabbed the stinger of the scorpion with tweezers. So I figured I should do the same thing here to ensure this test went very smoothly.
All right, Sai, 3, 2, 1. Ow. Oh, did it sting you?
Yep.
Oh shoot, what does it feel like?
Oh, it's not that bad, but it's sharp. It's sharp.
Nah, you just got stung by a scorpion and you're saying it's not that bad.
I felt it go into my skin.
Shoot, that must have been painful.
Yep, apparently the pain immediately wasn't so bad. But he did tell me as the minutes went on, he could feel the venom sort of spreading around the area where he got stung. But even the scorpion sting is nothing compared to the final insect sting.
Sai, I have to admit, you've done a great job so far, but if you want to win the $10,000 prize, I mean, you still have to take on the most painful sting, and what do you think is under that sticky note, like genuinely?
I have no clue. I mean, it could really be anything, but I'm hoping it's something friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, it's absolutely not something friendly.
That's a lot of money. I think I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Why don't you just peel that sticky note off? For $10,000, you gotta get stung by a cow killer.
You're joking.
No.
Are you serious?
Yes, you saw the videos of Coyote Peterson getting stung by that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Sai actually wanted to rewatch that classic Coyote Peterson cow killer sting to see how bad this was actually gonna be.
Oh my gosh, that thing's huge. Oh.
Nah, that's about to happen to you, Sai. Shoot.
Oh no, it's even worse when you're watching it and you're knowing it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, Sai is gonna have a great time.
Now, Sai, we're not gonna waste any time. The cow killer's in this bag. Do you wanna take it out for me?
I'm gonna get stung though.
No, just take it out.
Okay.
So Sai opened up the bag to reveal not actually the cow killer, but the brand new Terra Green plushies. We got this jumbo snake plushie with the channel logo all over it, and a cute little axolotl too.
And also, Sai, each plushie comes with a custom trading card. You wanna give this one an open?
Oh, yes, like Pokemon when I was a kid.
Yep.
Let's see what it is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. Yeah, it just comes with every order for free. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Store.com.
Hey, that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Yep, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Anyway, so I actually wasn't lying. The cow killer is actually inside of this bag, so Sai pulled it out so we could get our first look at it.
Sai, what do you think of this thing?
It's so small for being something so painful.
Yeah, and they say this thing's sting is so strong that it's able to kill cows.
Is that real?
Well, no, these things have actually never actually harmed someone. They're just extremely painful, so there's nothing for you to worry about.
That's good then.
Yeah.
So I went and picked this thing up with some tweezers, and mine is a bit small, so it's hard to see, but if you look very closely, you can actually see the stinger here retracting in and out. Cow killers have the longest stingers in the world, so they can inject their venom super deep into the victim.
All right, Sai, we're just gonna jump straight into this. I got it here, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna put this on your arm right now.
Okay, I'm really scared. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna really hurt. All right, $10,000. That's a lot of Terra Green plushies. Oh, ow!
Oh, did it sting you?
Oh, yep, that's like deep.
Oh, it stung you.
Yep, it literally happened so fast, I didn't even realize he got stung. But based off of his reaction, he definitely did. Yeah, he was feeling it.
It burns. It feels like it's down there in the middle of my arm.
That thing just injected its stinger down deep into your arm and put that venom up in there.
Does my skin it looks red?
Yeah, that thing, it's just gonna get a big red spot there over time.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, this pain can sometimes last for up to days, but to make sure Sai didn't have to endure that, I put some of this special stuff on his arm that should help get rid of the sting as much as possible.
Sai, I have good news. You are now the proud owner of $10,000.
Ants are known for their insane ability to work together to accomplish impossible tasks. So I was wondering what would happen if I put my 1,000 ant colony up against natural disasters. Would they actually be able to stop and survive them by working together? Well, that's exactly why I gathered up 1,000 ants. And I have the 5 coolest natural disasters planned, starting with the most iconic, an earthquake. Yup, ants, I went out and bought a realistic earthquake simulating platform that if I go and press this button, whatever on top starts to shake so much, which recreates a real earthquake. Oh, dang. But what I'll actually be putting on here is this 2D ant nest and filling it up with the 1,000 ants, of course. Basically, these ants will dig out tunnels along the glass like my last ant video, but throughout that process, the earthquake machine will lightly go off to gently collapse the tunnels while the ants are digging. That way, I can show you how ants evolve to survive earthquakes in the wild, and if they pass, they move on to the more and more interesting disasters. Now, as you could probably imagine, the ants wasted no time to get to work. Ants are so tiny, and while a single ant would basically be able to make no progress whatsoever, when you have a 1,000 ants, things are done at an insanely rapid pace as workers started picking up grains of sand along the glass so each tunnel could be formed. It's so cool to see time-lapse footage of these tunnels being made because they literally dug out this entire amount of sand in only like 6 hours. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen to these tunnels when I turn on this earthquake machine. Now, I started by turning it on the least powerful setting. Okay, it's shaking super slowly. Now, it's my goal to make sure not a single ant is harmed in this video. I just want to show you how insanely smart they are and how they will overcome all these disasters in the wild. But even this very light shaking was definitely felt amongst the colony. The workers along the top area immediately knew something was off and they started frantically running around, as you can see. And when we take a look down under the nest where all the tunnels are, you can see those ants were acting similarly. Ants know during earthquakes, their tunnels have the chance to collapse, so all of them were being extremely careful. Very interestingly enough, in this room here, many of the ants were gathering up on the walls of the room to add an extra layer of support so it wouldn't collapse. But of course, when an earthquake happens in the wild, a part of the nest is bound to collapse, so it wasn't long until this happened. A bit of the sand here started to fall, completely blocking off this tunnel. I immediately turned off the machine to make sure the ants wouldn't be too stressed out while they had to commence a rescue mission. Because as you can see, while most of the ants were able to squeeze out, like this guy here, at least one ant was partially trapped in this collapsed tunnel. But amazingly, it looked as though one of the ants was already picking up some of the sand from the collapsed portion to clear it out. And yeah, literally so quickly, the ants excavated the entire collapsed tunnel, enough to where it was a perfectly functional area to walk through again. And funnily enough, some of the ants even started to walk in and slowly dig out the area where the sand had just collapsed from to make a new tunnel there.
Wow, the ants just completed this natural disaster. They are so smart. But the natural disasters are designed to get more interesting as the video goes on. So next up, we got a sandstorm. Yes, ants, you heard that right. And this will be taking place in the separate desert enclosure.
Yes, we need to have a separate tank so that way I can make this sand blow around like crazy to replicate a real sandstorm.
And along with this blow dryer, I've also got all these fans that clamp to the walls, and I can just set up to constantly blow the ants back.
For the ants to be able to pass this disaster, they're gonna have to do something like grab onto each other's bodies or something to be able to push past this intense wind. And if they can make it to this canyon, climb up it, and make it to the Terra Green leaf bowl, then they're gonna get a ton of seeds, which is their favorite food.
All right, let me just hook up this tubing like so, and the ants should start coming. Let's go.
Yup, and this tubing is set up so once an ant enters the disaster, they can't get out. That way, we'll progressively get to see more and more teamwork as time goes on. Now, immediately, you could see these first ants just kind of thought this was a normal desert as they were walking through it, but quickly, I brought out my mini sandstorm fan, and I started to blow. Immediately, the ants started to feel the wind pressure pushing them back, and were suddenly not able to walk forward. Some even lost their grip and got pushed back a bit. And as more ants entered the desert, you could tell the sandstorm was keeping them all stuck to the left side of this enclosure.
Yo, this little mini fan is fire for replicating a sandstorm. But no, this is where it gets interesting, because now that they know a sandstorm is brewing, how are they gonna figure out how to get to these seeds? Well, let's see.
While most ants kept trying to just walk forward and getting blown back, interestingly enough, many of the ants were gathering up in this back area here near the sticks. And many of them were actually starting to climb onto the sticks. You see, the fan doesn't really blow ants back if they're walking on sticks, since there's just so much of a better grip on there. But yeah, the second they climb off and stand on the sand again, they'll get blown back, as you can see. But the ants were starting to learn that they needed to stay on the sticks. So many started to gather up and march towards the right side where all the seeds were located. In fact, this ant was making it dangerously close to the seeds using the stick method. And well, he was able to make it to the little rock canyon and almost was there to the seeds.
Oh my gosh, this ant climbing right now is a beast. I am blowing this fan max speed on him, and he is just stuck to this rock.
And as I let my guard down for literally 1 second, this dude made a dash for the seeds, literally running straight towards it, and well, he made it in. And he looked so happy to have gotten those seeds. He was just dancing around in there.
Yo, this ant is crazy. I didn't even have time to blow him back when he got up into this area.
Since the ants passed a disaster, I gathered them all up and put them back into the nest. And I gave them the food prize, which of course they started to take down into the nest over the next 5 minutes.
But ants, I'm not gonna lie, this natural disaster was kind of easy to pass. If we really want to learn about how ants survive, well, we gotta go to our third natural disaster, a flood.
Yup, and as you can see, I've built another custom tank where the flood is going to be getting simulated. I know there's no water yet, but you'll see how quickly that changes. For now, all you gotta know is if the ants make it all the way to this leaf ball, they'll once again get rewarded with tons more seeds.
These ants have no idea what's about to hit them. Let's connect this tubing so these guys can start walking in.
Quickly, the ants started to make their way in. But before the ants had any time at all to take in their surroundings, I had to activate the flood.
So to make the flood happen, I gotta go down here to this little bucket, plug it in, and then out the end of this tube. Oh yeah, water. Oh shoot, water's coming out. Okay, I just gotta carefully, move that over there. Oh, okay. There we go.
Similar to real life, floods will block off paths for ants while they're trying to travel, so this is exactly what that recreates. And the ants are gonna have to find a way to pass these gaps using the objects I've provided for them. As you can tell, the ants in here immediately were a little confused on what to do. Many were gathering up near the water edge, inspecting what the heck just happened. Some even fell into the water, but don't worry, any ant that falls in, I'll be rescuing and bringing back to the start so no ants get hurt. But also, many of the ants were actually sort of gathering around the objects I had placed in. And as I left my camera recording, I was extremely amazed by what I saw happen. Out of nowhere, this feather started to slightly move. And as I kept watching, it slowly started nudging around more and more. There must have been an ant underneath, and this ant was genuinely moving the feather closer and closer to the water until literally like magic, it was moved almost entirely in, and an ant crawled out right from underneath as soon as that happened. Dang, this guy must have been helping move it.
Yo, these ants are absolutely insane. I don't know what ant just moved this feather into the water, but dang,
I mean, let's just see what they do.
It took a couple minutes, but eventually a couple more of the workers started to step onto the feather and started to walk across it to, of course, make it to our second platform. Now, unfortunately, the ants got to do the same exact thing here. Sorry, guys. I know you already did it once. But to my surprise, the ants literally wasted no time to start gathering around these feathers and directly in the area under them. And while it took a couple hours, eventually my camera caught this same exact thing happening. The feather slowly inched towards the water until, well, it had made a bridge across almost.
Let's go, ants. Now, I did help them a little bit by just moving the feather up onto this platform, but for the most part, they actually were moving those.
And yep, it didn't take long till our first worker stepped onto the final platform and climbed up into the leaf dish to claim their seeds.
All right, well done, little ant, and here is your guys' reward. Well, guys, if you want even better food, you're gonna have to complete this next natural disaster, which is a blizzard. And guys, this is gonna be happening in your nest. Be prepared.
Yup, this blizzard will be taking place inside of the ant nest, so we could study how ants handle the cold in the wild.
Now, obviously, I can't just go and dump a ton of snow on them. That would totally just freeze them all. Instead, I've actually got some ice cubes, which I'm gonna go and just plop on this which, as you can see, this makes a nice little makeshift snow that on my laser thermometer is approximately -Celsius degrees.
I started by sprinkling a super tiny amount of this ice on the ant nest to see how they'd initially react, and interestingly, well, not even a single ant cared at all. Yeah, this ice just melted completely into the sand. Since the ants weren't affected by that, I decided to up the amount of ice I put in, which should give us a reaction to how ants handle the cold in the wild. And this time, the ants were actually a bit more interested in the ice, with some of them even crawling on top of them. But the most fascinating thing I had noticed was how much the ants had started to slow down their movement since the start.
Thankfully, all the ants are doing just fine still, but if you look very closely, these ants, for the most part, have slowed down so much. I mean, look at how slowly some of them are moving.
Yup, this is one of ants' special abilities, because in the winter, when it starts to snow and the temperature drops drastically, the ants are basically biologically built to start moving slower. That way, they can conserve as much energy as possible and go hide deeper underground.
So yeah, in the wild, they would dig even deeper and all the ants would relocate to under the nest. I don't want to put any ants at risk, so I'm going to very carefully take out all the pieces of ice so this place will warm back up to the proper temperature.
And once the tank was warmed back up, I'd say the ants are now ready for their final natural disaster, which this time is a zombie apocalypse.
And I'm not going to lie, this is probably going to be the most interesting to watch because I've got 3 different types of insects that, in a way, is going to represent a zombie apocalypse.
Now, our first insect prey is, well, zombie grasshoppers. Yes, these are grasshoppers that Petco sells that are literally like half decomposing and meant for feeding animals. And I'll be bringing them back to life and moving it in front of the ants to see what they do.
And to make the ants swarm this even more, I'm gonna dip some of it in this brown sugar water. And yeah, this is gonna make it super tasty. Without further ado, let's get this in here.
Now, immediately after dipping this in the nest, I started to do a really good, accurate job of moving this around to act like it was alive. And I think the ants were falling for it because you can see they quickly started to climb all over it. And if you also look closely, the ants were actually grabbing onto this thing with their insanely strong mandibles, and they were injecting their venomous stingers into it. Which is kind of unnecessary. This thing is already long gone, but I guess I'm just doing such a good job moving it around that they think it's actually a real zombie grasshopper.
Okay, you guys are doing a good job attacking this. I'm just gonna leave that in there for you while I get this second insect ready.
And yeah, they start to absolutely devour this grasshopper. But anyways, our second insect food is this. They're called wax worms, and they're a staple food for ants because of how squishy they are.
But yeah, they just look so weird. So that's why I'm putting them in the zombie apocalypse section of the video. Let's go ahead and add these guys in.
I decided to put this first wax worm on top of where all the ants were still located around that grasshopper. And well, the ants almost instantly recognized the prey, and amazingly, they knew exactly what to do. And they took this dude straight down into the tunnel system where it wouldn't even stand a chance to fight back.
Oh my gosh, that was like 3 seconds. And now this worm is literally nowhere to be seen. It's probably in the tunnel system. Dang, that's actually kind of impressive, ants.
So I dropped the other 2 wax worms inside, and once again, one of them instantly got pulled down into the tunnel system to get eaten, and this one started to get swarmed. After the ants had a good grasp of it, they literally brought it over to these hills in the back, which eventually the worm was then brought down one of the holes on that hill. It's so cool because if you guys didn't even realize, the ants have turned these hills at the back into an extra place for more tunnels on the back, and we can literally see the worm down under these tunnels as the ants get their protein from eating it. Wow, amazing job, ants. But our final zombie apocalypse food is flightless fruit flies. But I'm gonna be dumping so many on the ants, so it's like a proper zombie apocalypse movie with how many zombies there are, even though these aren't zombies. Yeah, these are flightless fruit flies, and if you didn't already know what they are, well, they're flies that can't fly. It's always so funny to me to say this in videos, because seriously, like, how are you a fly that can't fly? Come on, bro. Okay, anyways, I got about 100 of these flies, as you can see. So let's dump this zombie apocalypse on these ants. Oh yeah. Now, as you can probably imagine, dumping this much prey on the ants activates their predator instincts a lot, because instantly so many of the ants started to become way more frantic. They started to run around like crazy to try and catch these little flies. Now, I mean, it's pretty obvious the ants aren't going to struggle with eating these flies because they're literally so much smaller. And quickly, I started to notice lots of the ants with these little flies in their mandibles. Yeah, I bet these are tasty. Well, ants, you've literally survived floods, earthquakes, and so much more. So I'm going to move these guys back. This is a bloodworm, and it is the creepiest, most disgusting creature ever. It even has 4 venomous fangs in each corner of its mouth that you definitely don't want to get bit by. Here we go, bloodworms. Even as an animal expert, I am like pretty spooked about these. But anyways, let's just check them out. Underneath all the packing material were the bloodworms. So using some tweezers, I carefully removed one to take a closer look. And yep, this is a bloodworm. You can see that they are absolutely disgusting looking, and their mouth is even able to extend out of their body like an alien. But at the end of this part that expands are their venomous fangs, which they use to latch onto stuff like shrimp in the ocean, which I'll be showing off very soon. Now, one thing though, I actually bought 12 of these bloodworms that I'm gonna have to keep all in the same aquarium. So yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare. Now for the build, I'm gonna put in some aqua soil and a dirt mix. Eventually, we're gonna completely fill it with water because that's how bloodworms live in the wild. But for now, I just put a tiny bit of water in to keep the dirt nice and moisty. But I've already run into the first problem because I don't think I was supposed to add the water straight to the dirt. It kind of made it a weird consistency. And the water is just straight up black. So yeah, I drained the water, scooped out the dirt, and I washed it off in the sink. Then I put the soil back in, covered it in a thin layer of sand, and added the water back. As you can see now, the water stays fantastically clear. Nice. This mound here in the middle will be where I build all the decorations, and I'll even be putting in some red plants, and then finally filling it all up with water. First of all, let's get some pieces of wood in here. And I thought this design of multiple of these burnt looking ones coming from the middle looked pretty nice. I didn't want them sticking out the top though, so I broke off all those extra pieces and planted them in the sand below to give the whole wood structure a more fuller look. Now it's time for the rocks, and you may think these are just called river rocks, but in fact, that is not true. This one on the left is actually called an elderly boulder, and this one on the right is called a black venom boulder. Now those are some cool names. Just wanted to say thank you to whoever named them. But the best rock I have is this. It's actually not a rock at all. It's actually wood. Yeah, just like what I already got in there. Yeah, it's called petrified wood, and basically millions of years ago, it was buried under the earth and turned into a rock over time. But for this wood rock back here, I've actually got a pretty cool plan. As you can see, I've got a little can of sardines, which you basically just open by pulling the... okay, it just broke off. Okay, attempt 2. Basically, you just open it like this, and inside there's some like dead fish that you eat. Now with the sardines, I actually went and put one of them under this petrified wood. I'm doing this because I want to test to see if the bloodworms have a smell ability and whether they'll be able to find the sardine under it, dig it out, and eat it. Yeah, that should be pretty fun to watch. Anyways, now I want to get some red aquatic plants in here. Got the package with all of the red plants inside, so I took them all out and started to put them around random parts in the sand. Now a few of the plants they gave me weren't actually red, they were very green, but it's okay because I was starting to like the look of how it was all coming together. I also ended up getting these red ruby crystals that I scattered along the floor of the enclosure to add a bit more red in here to match that bloodworm color, of course. But as you can probably tell, I've been keeping the 2 sides of this enclosure completely empty, and that's because I want to build some custom DIY builds on both sides that the 12 bloodworms will be able to interact with. First of all, on the right side, I'm going to make a little cave they can all hide in. Now in an old video, I learned this cool trick where you get get out a basket, cut a hole in the front, and cover it in rocks to make your very own cave. So I'm gonna do it again, but this time with 3 different baskets to make a triple-decker cave. So I went and cut the front of the baskets off to be the entrance. I sanded them down a bit so it wasn't as sharp, and I covered the baskets in a ton of spray foam. Cause let's be real, it wouldn't be a Terra Green video without it. And then I started to carve it out to make it look like the spray foam was the actual rocks of the cave. Anyways, here is the finished triple-decker cave. Looks good, right? Right?
Let's just get this thing in there just like that. It may not be the prettiest decoration in the whole world, but a wise man did once tell me it's not about the looks, it's about the thought that went into it. And yeah, a lot of thought did go into this cave, okay? We can store 3 different worms in there.
All right, now time for the left side's DIY build, and this time I've got something interesting. Yup, it's a food platter. Basically, I'm gonna prepare a bunch of different foods for the bloodworms. That way I'll be able to see which they like the most once I get them inside. So anyways, I drove to Walmart to do some food shopping.
Okay, well, we're shopping for bloodworms today, so I came straight to the meat aisle, of course.
Now, first on the shopping list was some beef. Now, if you remember, this is actually the same stuff I fed in my video where I got pet leeches. And if you saw that, you probably remember they absolutely loved it. Like, I was having trouble getting them off of it, so of course I bought some of that for the bloodworms. But I also went over to the fish aisle and decided to buy some salmon, which are a type of saltwater fish, which usually live with bloodworms in the wild, so I figured they might like to eat that. And also in that aisle, I got some shrimp, because when you search on Google what bloodworms like to eat, it says shrimp. So if nothing else works, they should at least eat this. Finally, I went to the aquarium aisle to buy some of these fish pellets, because who knows, maybe the bloodworms will eat those too. Once I got home, I got out all the foods in the order I'll be feeding them to the bloodworms. It's gonna be crazy to watch their fangs absolutely rip this food to shreds, and I'm even gonna show some unseen stuff about these bloodworms. Now let's get this tank filled up with water and get the bloodworms inside. To do that, it meant I needed to take out the food, since it would get soggy if I kept it inside.
Yeah, I'll put this back in there very soon, but for now I'm just gonna store it in my fridge to keep it fresh.
Now, of course, I had to start filling it up with water so the bloodworms will be able to swim around in there. But when it got to like 30% full, I kind of realized a big problem.
Oh shoot, bro, I don't know how I didn't think of this, but bloodworms, they live on the beaches of oceans, and the beaches of oceans have salt water. I've been making this a freshwater tank. I've been putting fresh water in it.
But it's okay, because thankfully in the corner of my garage, I just have 2 big cartons of Pacific Ocean water, sourced straight from the ocean. Don't ask why I have this, I just do. Anyways, I drained out a little bit of the fresh water and started to add in the ocean salt water. And by the time it was filled up, the salt level was 0.02, which is perfect for bloodworms.
All right, all the right water parameters have been met in here, so the bloodworms are good to go in. But because I put salt water in here, it does mean the $200 on freshwater plants I spent is gonna go down the drain. Yeah, these are all about to die.
Since they were all gonna die, I wanted to replace the red theme in here, so I got this heatless red lamp. As you can see, it makes the water have this red tint to it, which is cool, because you gotta have the water at least look a little bit like blood when putting bloodworms inside. Now, I also need to get snails inside of here so they can eat any algae that grows.
Now, luckily for me, I actually have this tank just set up with like 30 just snails in here, and they're called nerite snails, and they're able to survive in salt water, so that's why I'm gonna choose these guys.
So I got a few of those and put them inside the bloodworm tank. Once they got used to the water, a few of them came out their shells and started to move about the glass. Now, I think these guys should be safe from bloodworms because of their shells, but I'm not gonna give the 100% guarantee. So sorry guys if you get eaten by the bloodworms. Now for the final touch of this tank. And what I did is I actually went and found this cool picture of a beware of the dog sign, and I went and asked AI to change it to a beware of the worm sign.
Oh my gosh, look at what it generated. That is absolutely perfect. Wait, let me go print this out at the store real quick.
So I printed it, attached it to a piece of cardboard to make it a sign, and there we go, a beware of worm sign. I then even went and spiced up the enclosure a little bit by splattering some red paint along the sides to make it look like blood splatters.
And there we go, 100% complete bloodworm enclosure. And I guess there's only one thing to do. Let's get these bloodworms inside. Now, I'll just be starting with one, and then I'll add all the rest as I test more and more food. But yeah, let's just put this guy inside. Be free, boy.
And the worm kind of just sank down to the bottom and started moving around randomly. And yeah, well, this is kind of all bloodworms do. They just wiggle about, and occasionally they'll burrow under the sand, which is where they spend most of their lives. And as you can see, it didn't take this guy long until he started to do just that. But I guess he got bored of the digging, because eventually he just came out and started to wiggle about again above the sand.
Wait, before this guy tries to burrow under the sand again, let's get to feeding him some food to see which bloodworms like the most. And we're gonna be starting with just some little fish pellets. I'm not too sure if they're gonna eat this, but it's worth a shot. Let's put them inside.
But there was a slight problem because as you can see, the fish food was floating, and I feel like the bloodworm isn't just gonna swim up to it. So instead, I picked it up with some tweezers and moved it towards the worm. And as you can see, when I moved it towards him, he actually went and flashed his fangs at me for the first time. I thought this surely meant he was hungry, so I started to wave the food around in front of his mouth a bunch, and yeah, nothing. He didn't eat it.
So hey, fish food, I'm gonna give a 0 out of 10. He didn't even want anything to do with that. But next up, out of all of these, I think I'm gonna do some salmon. Now this stuff is so smelly and so oily, I think he just has to eat it, right?
Now I actually went and added in 2 more bloodworms to the tank, so there was a higher chance of one of them eating it. Then I did the same thing. I just wiggled the salmon around in front of their mouths until they ate it. But just like the fish pellets, for some reason, these worms were not wanting anything to do with it. Now I actually think bloodworms need to have their mouth part extended and their fangs showing in order for them to eat food. And right now their mouths are retracted because I think they're stressed. So what I did was I actually went and put all of the 12 bloodworms in the aquarium and just kind of let them do their thing. My thinking was if I left them alone for a few hours in the tank, they'd start to get used to it and then they would eat. After a while, I went and took one of the bloodworms out and put him on land. I waited a little bit for him to shoot his mouth out, and when he did, I grabbed it with tweezers. Now you can really get a good look at the fangs, and what makes these fangs so cool is they're actually made of copper. Yeah, like the metal you find underground, and they're the only animal in the world with copper teeth. Anyways, with the bloodworm, I brought it up to the 3rd food source, which is of course beef, and after kind of like shoving his face in it, he instantly bit down with all 4 of his fangs and started to devour this piece of meat and just suck all the juices out.
Wow, it took a long time for me to get a bloodworm to eat a piece of meat, but dang, that is so cool when they do grab on, because look, I'm shaking it, like literally it doesn't want to come off. It's like, I am eating this, do not take it away. So I think I'm gonna go try that same thing with the last food source, which is a shrimp.
And once one of the other worms shot out their mouth, I once again grabbed it and this time put the shrimp in front of it. He also immediately grabbed onto it, and now these 2 bloodworms were having the time of their lives eating up the food. After like an hour, I went and removed the food from them, which was pretty hard. I had to like kind of shake them off.
Holy, that was actually kind of cool to watch, and it looks like you can see the little bite mark where the worm was biting, and remember, these guys are venomous, so there's literally venom.
Bed bugs are tiny parasites that hide in your bed and suck your blood while you sleep. Bed bugs.
Now, I don't think these are meant to be kept as pets, but hey, $20, what could go wrong? Let's just buy these.
So in this video, I'm gonna build a home for them, document exactly what it's like to have bed bugs as pets, and literally feed them my own blood at the end of the video. Yes, I'm not kidding. I don't know why I'm gonna do this to myself. Anyways, until the bed bugs got delivered, I got out an enclosure to build their home.
Now, I'm pretty sure there's no documented case of anyone keeping bed bugs as a pet, so I figured out what they need myself. Yeah, all these supplies are for the bed bugs.
Anyways, first up, I started to pour some coconut fiber dirt into the enclosure for step number 1, the floor. You see, for most of the floor, we want to use this dirt material, but that's not it. We actually want to pour a layer of sand on top of it, just like this. You see, I'm doing this because bed bugs would be almost impossible to spot if they were just on dirt, but on the sand, I should be able to see them perfectly.
And I really got to make sure I keep track of every bed bug, because if they escape, let's just say I'm not going to be sleeping too well. Why am I doing this?
Anyways, I finished off the floor by creating some little sand mounds in the back that I would soon be able to cover in decorations. And speaking of decorations, for step number 2, we're gonna put in the natural decorations. For those, I got out some simple stuff like cork bark, spider wood, and some gray stones, and strategically placed them around in the sand. I even stacked a few pieces of wood in this corner and covered the top in some moss to make it look like a tree. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm an expert designer, as you could tell.
And all this stuff is gonna be perfect because bed bugs like to hide under tight little spaces just like these, which is also why they like to hide under mattresses. Yeah, it's pretty cozy under there.
To finish off the natural decorations, I planted a bit more moss around just to add some more color and bring the whole thing to life. All right, now for the next step, it's time for the artificial decorations.
And basically what that means is I literally want to build a mini bed from scratch to put in the middle of this enclosure to see if the bed bugs will prefer to hide under natural decorations or if they really just love beds. Now, of course, I'm gonna put this in the middle of the enclosure, but that's not all I'm gonna do. You see, the reason bed bugs love mattresses so much is because they smell like humans. So basically what I need to do is make this mini mattress smell like me. And I have the perfect idea for how to do that.
So I got out my bike helmet, lined a little towel rag along the front of it, put it on, and started to go for a bike ride.
So basically, I'm just gonna ride around for like 20 or 30 minutes, and that towel I put in my helmet should absorb all the sweat, and then I can just basically squeeze it on that little mini mattress. Yeah, I'm a genius.
I know.
So I went on my little ride up and down some hills, you know. And when I got home, I took the rag off my helmet to see if it would work.
Okay, I think there's like a solid amount of sweat on this, so I guess let me just go and try and squeeze it on top of this. Come on, just get a little bit of sweat out. Oh, shoot. Okay, wait, that's actually a pretty good amount of sweat. Dang, wait. Okay, this is kind of nasty, I'm not gonna lie. And there we go, it just kind of looks like someone peed in the bed now, but hey, this should smell like me now.
Well, now that the mattress is done, it's time to move on to the final step, which is a DIY technology. Now you see, bedbugs are attracted to an air molecule called CO2 because it's the same molecule that humans breathe out.
And since bedbugs love that smell so much, I'm gonna build my own custom CO2 emitter right there, and then I'll test to see if the bedbugs like go flock towards the smell. I don't know, it'll be cool though.
Now to make a CO2 emitter, you first gotta get out a nice large soda bottle and pour all the soda out. Well, technically you don't have to pour it out, it's just not healthy to drink that much soda, so yeah, that's why I'm pouring it out. Anyways, then you get the empty soda bottle and fill it up with some special ingredients. First, we fill it up almost entirely with water, and then add like 2 cups of sugar. And then the final step is to add some yeast in here, which is the same thing you use to bake bread.
Basically, all those ingredients I just added are gonna react and do some science, and basically, out the end of this tube that I attached, a bunch of CO2 is just gonna come out, and yeah, I'm just gonna see if the bed bugs go and smell it or something. I don't know.
Well, the bed bug enclosure is now finished, and that means it's time to add those nasty creatures inside and be the first person to have pet bed bugs.
All right, well, here they are, the bed bugs. They literally just got delivered, so thankfully they weren't sitting in the snow too long. But as you guys know, I'm not exactly too thrilled to be keeping these as a pet because, like I said, I'm literally going to let them be sucking the blood out of my arm. I don't know why I do this, man. But let me just get them in the enclosure I built for them.
So I brought them to my table, cut the tape, and lifted the flaps.
Oh my gosh. I think they're inside of this thing in here. Okay, I guess let me just get this out. And bro, genuinely, if these things escape, my mom is going to be so mad.
And speaking of escape, you might be wondering, how will I prevent them from escaping, considering the enclosure I made literally doesn't have a roof? Well, I forgot one important step, escape-proofing the enclosure.
But don't worry, because I've kept ants before, and I actually got this special serum for the ants that prevents them from escaping, and I'm just hoping that it'll do the same for the bed bugs.
Basically, you just get out a little cotton ball, put some of the special serum on the end, and rub it in along the top edges of the enclosure.
Alright, now even if the bed bugs are able to climb the glass, they're gonna climb up, and then they're gonna get to this stuff, and basically it's just super slippery, so they're just gonna slide right off. And then finally, I'm just gonna put this top on it just like that. That won't actually do anything because these holes are pretty sure too big. Yeah, the bugs could probably just fit through it, but whatever.
Anyways, I got out the jar of bed bugs, opened the top of it, and dumped about half of the 10 inside of the enclosure. Immediately, one of the bed bugs started to scurry around his new home looking for cover and went straight into a dark spot under the nearest rock. But a few seconds later, I saw this bed bug, and he actually ran straight over to the little bed mattress I had made. And after crawling on it for a minute, he set up camp in a little piece of cork bark right next to it. I guess the fact I had made the mattress smell just like me was working really well, because over the next minute, I saw 2 more of the bed bugs just chilling on the mattress too.
Dang, that's actually cool how they all just went onto this little mini mattress I made instead of all the other decorations. But to be honest, I've kind of already lost track of every single one I put in. Yeah, they're just so small.
But the reason bed bugs are so small is so they can go undetected while hiding in people's beds. And when they find a victim to suck the blood of, they can literally get more than double in size with how much they suck.
Anyways, bed bugs are nocturnal because obviously they feed on people at night. So in order to get them to suck my arm, I'm gonna bring my mom in here at night, show my new pet to her, and then get her to film me getting bit. This is not gonna be fun, but let's just go cut to then. Okay, Mom, you can come in.
Hey, bud.
Hi. Oh, that's a cool hoodie and hat you got on. Where'd you get that?
TerraGreenStore.com.
Oh, that's cool. All right, well, come in anyways. The reason I brought you here, you haven't seen my new pet, but basically, I have another new pet to show you. Yeah, so basically, just a channel tradition. You have to guess what pet is in there based on the stuff.
I'm gonna guess. I'm thinking a spider.
A spider?
A spider.
Well, it's a bug, and I'm just gonna tell you what it is. It's, well, don't get mad at me, seriously. It's bed bugs.
No, it's not, dude.
Yes, it's pet bed bugs. That's funny.
That's not cool.
It's pretty funny. Okay.
No, dude.
Okay, so to attract the bed bugs, I built this little contraption. Basically, I just take that off, and I'm just gonna pour some of this stuff. It's yeast. But basically, this is gonna have a chemical reaction in this bottle, and after I shake it up, it's basically gonna produce carbon dioxide, which is CO2. So I'm just gonna leave this tube here, and we'll just see if any bed bugs come out, so you can see them. Wait. Do you see that?
Oh my god.
Wait. Right, no, there actually is one right there. Do you see that? It's like a little tiny orange thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bed bug.
Oh my god, you're so crazy.
But the good thing is you're not gonna have to deal with them because, well, I have to tell you something. You remember the other day I got a leech and I let it suck on my arm?
Yes.
I have to do that with the bed bugs.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay,
They
well.
don't feed off of your arm.
Yeah, they suck your blood.
Oh my god, they do not.
So basically I've collected about, I think, 4 of the bed bugs in this jar. Well, I just gotta roll up my sleeve, I guess, and we're gonna feed them.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so, well, I guess let me just start. We're just gonna tip the jar like that and slowly let them crawl out. Okay, there's one on my arm right there.
Oh
Let's
my
just
god,
test it
dude.
with one.
Yeah, we're just doing one.
Just with
No,
two.
just do 2. Don't do any more than that.
That's okay. We need to get all 4
No,
of them.
we do not. No. Okay, put them back. That's it.
Why?
Because they're crawling and I'm not getting them anywhere else in this house.
It's okay, they'll bite me. So basically they can pick up the scent immediately of what my arm is like, and I'm pretty sure these 3 are already all biting me. This one's just the one that hasn't bit yet.
Soon enough, all 4 were biting, and basically all I felt was a little bit of a prick. The pain wasn't anything crazy though. But over the next 10 minutes, my mom and I would watch them fill up with my blood.
All right, so I just took the camera from you, and as you can see, I think they're starting to fill up. Is this weird?
Yeah, it's super weird. Oh, you can see them fill up with blood?
Yeah, if you look closely at their bodies, like you remember how they were super thin, now they're kind of getting a little thicker, and it should start to turn red soon. Oh, they already are actually. Oh, do you see that one?
Ew.
It's starting to move. That means it's done.
Oh my god,
So
good.
basically what you do when it's done.
All of them in the jar.
It's okay, we'll get it. Don't worry.
You see, basically when they start moving, that's when they're done feeding. So I put 2 of them back in the jar since they were done. Then a couple minutes later, another one finished, and then the final one a few minutes after that.
All right, and then the last one is in its jar. We're done. That's how you feed your pet bed bugs.
Oh, right. Don't ever do this to anyone.
All right, well, I just let bed bugs suck my blood for like 10 minutes, so please just subscribe. That's all I'm asking.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to watch another video, click the video on the screen. Goodbye. 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 In this video, I've collected the 7 weirdest species of fish to keep as pets. I've got species like one that literally has no eyes, the smallest in the entire world, and even a fish that can walk on land. Yeah, these fish are weird. But to start us off, the first weirdest fish is in this container. This is an archer fish, and all I'll tell you is this guy isn't called an archer fish for no reason. It has an absolutely insane special ability. So to get started, I got out a giant fish tank to build its home. I started with the basics like soil and sand, but started adding tons more decorations like rocks and tree branches. And I even put some overhanging branches, as this is very important for the archer fish. You'll see why in a second. Finally, I filled up the tank with water and it was ready for the archer fish. Hope you enjoy your new home, boy. It's nice in here. Now, archer fish are very territorial, so he immediately started to swim all around the tank to make sure he was alone. And when he realized he was, he swam up to the top of the tank to start patrolling the branches. You see, this species doesn't eat normal fish food, they only eat live insects. So I got out a bag of small crickets and put them on top of the tree branches. And this is where the special ability kicks in. The archer fish immediately noticed the crickets and got into position. And after barely sticking its mouth out of the water, it shot out a stream of water to try and hit the crickets off the branch into the water. Yes, this fish has literally evolved over millions of years to shoot literal water beams at overhead insects so it can eat them. And this guy, well, he's got pretty bad aim. Yeah, he kept missing the easiest shots.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
But eventually he knocked one in the water and swam right up to it to gulp it up. And yeah, he wasn't good at that either, but he eventually got it.
Oh, you got it. Dang, that was actually super cool.
That guy's gonna be an amazing pet. And in this video, there's still 6 even weirder species of fish to show. In this next one, well, you're just gonna have to see it for yourself. These are eyeless cavefish. And as the name suggests, these fish quite literally have no eyes. You're probably wondering how it even eats food, swims, or does anything. I don't really know, but I guess we're gonna find out. But first, I got out the tank and started to attach rocks to the back because I want to make this fish tank look like a cave, because you know we're putting eyeless cave fish in here. We got to make it look like their natural habitat. And once all the water safe spray foam dried, I filled the bottom up with a bit of soil, sand, plants, decorations, and all that stuff.
All right, so I was trying to make this look like a cave, and it's not the absolute best, but hopefully you get the vision. You know, it's a cave.
Anyways, I filled it up with water and got the weird eyeless fish out.
Okay, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of confused on what these guys are gonna do when I put them in here. I mean, they literally don't have eyes, so are they just gonna like swim right into a rock and get brain damage or something?
in? I don't know. I guess we'll see though.
So I released them in one by one, and as I expected, this guy straight away swam right into a rock. But apparently that was just a one-off occurrence because for the most part they actually acted pretty similar to normal fish. So before I fed them some food, I did some research to figure out how they act so normal and figured out it's because they have this thing on their body called a lateral line system. Basically, it's a bunch of nerves that can detect super slight water vibrations and help them navigate around.
Okay, now this is the fun part. Since these guys are blind, we're gonna see if they're actually able to even eat food. I got these pellets.
So I sprinkled them in and they started to sink to the bottom. And almost immediately, the fish's insane scent of smell kicked in and one started to go crazy. And within seconds, the rest of them joined in, and as you can see, they were going insane, eating up all the food off the floor like a bunch of piranhas. Yeah, eyeless cave fish are super cool and super weird, but we still got way more fish that are even weirder, including one that can walk on land. But next up, I've actually got two different weird species I'm gonna pair together. In this container, I've got both glass catfish and upside down catfish, which, you know, are both catfish, so they fit pretty well together. Anyways, before I show you how weird these species are, we gotta first, of course, build another tank, and this one's pretty similar to the first. Sand, rocks, wood, stuff like that, you know, and I wanted to especially make this one look like a swamp, so I even made sure the water was a little murky, and then I was done. So the first weird fish I put inside was the glass catfish, and if you're wondering why they're called glass catfish, it's because they're literally made of glass. I'm just kidding. They're actually made of fish, but they're called glass catfish because they're completely see-through, if you're wondering. If I put my finger behind the fish, you can literally see it through it. That's pretty weird, you gotta admit. Anyways, while these guys adjusted to the tank, I also added in the two upside-down catfish I had. Now, this will probably be a shock to some of you, but they're actually called upside-down catfish because they swim upside down a bunch. Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. Now, the reason to why they do this is because their favorite food is algae, and when they're upside down, they get access to the parts of rocks other fish can't reach. It's actually pretty smart. Now, normally if I was upside down this long, I'd get a headache, but I guess they're fish, so I don't know if fish get headaches, to be honest.
All right, now I could just feed these guys just, you know, normal fish pellets, but I think it'd be a lot more interesting to feed them something cool so we can see the food inside their bodies. So that's why I've got this. Apparently it's just some frozen turkey heart, daphnia, and spirulina. Yeah, I don't know what any of that is, but it's probably gonna be cool to see inside their body. Let's drop it in.
So I dropped in a few of the cubes, and immediately they started to dissolve into a bunch of tiny little food that floated around the tank. A few of the ghost catfish immediately went and picked it up off the floor and slowly started to chew it up and swallow it. But after they swallowed it, I couldn't see the food in their body anywhere, and apparently that's because their stomach is actually right here. Yeah, I don't know why they have the stomach so close to their mouth. Like, what if they sneeze too hard? The stomach might just like fall out or something. Well, now that the catfish have been fed, it's time for weird fish number 5, which is easily one of my favorites. The fifth weird fish is in this container. Yeah, I know it looks like there's nothing in here, but that's because this thing is called an Amazon leaf fish. It literally almost never moves, and in fact, the only way you can tell it's a fish is its super tiny fins and its eyes. But don't let this thing fool you. It's actually a fierce predator that will eat anything. But to show you that, we gotta get its home built. For the tank, I wanted to make it look like the bottom of an Amazon rainforest river or lake or something. Now, I didn't really know how to do that, to be honest, but I just stacked up a bunch of pieces of wood so it looked like tree roots. And after filling it up with some water, you can tell it had this orange hue to it, and that's because I let the tannins from the wood soak into the water because it's super healthy for this fish. So I scooped him up into his brand new home, and immediately he went into hiding. Let's play a little game. You have 5 seconds to find the fish in the tank. Let's go. He's somewhere in here camouflaged. And did you get it? He's right here. Yeah, basically impossible to see, especially when he's in the cloudy, tannin-filled water. Anyways, one of the coolest things about this fish is how it swims. You see, while most fish swim by flapping their back fin around back and forth, this guy needs to look like a drifting dead leaf. So using the super tiny fins, it flaps those barely enough to propel his body around the water. And yeah, it blends in pretty well. Now, in the wild, these guys mostly eat live fish, but I'd feel bad feeding them a live fish, so instead, I've got another idea for some live prey to feed it. Basically, I got this little toy that apparently lets you hatch your own pet shrimp from eggs. And I'm gonna feed them to the leaf, of course. Alright, everything's set up, and I think there's gonna be some stuff hatching in here in like a day or two, so I guess I'll just come back, cut to them. Alright, it's been a couple days, and I don't really know if I did this right, but if you look closely in there, there is actually a bunch of those little,
I don't really know what they are, but they're swimming around. Something's alive in there, so I'm sure that's a good sign.
So I used a little pipette to suck them out, and as you can see, there's a pretty good amount of them inside of it. Then I just sprayed them all around the leaf fish and waited for him to ambush them, or something like that. But I'm gonna be honest, he didn't really react to them at all, and he didn't eat any of them. But of course he has to eat, so instead I got out a pack of frozen shrimp, which are a lot bigger, and surely he would eat. I dropped them in right next to him, and it didn't take long until he started to suck them up one by one. Looks like he's enjoying it. Anyways, this guy's gonna be a great pet, but there is still 2 more extremely weird fish species, with the last one of course being the walking fish. It's very cool. But for now, fish species number 6 is in this container. Yes, this is literally the fish. It is the smallest fish available to buy on the entire internet. It's called a Chili rasbora, and no, this is not a baby or anything. It is literally a fully grown adult. I don't even know if it'll be able to eat those tiny little pellets since it's so small, but I guess we'll see. Anyways, for its tank, I bought something to match its size, the smallest one I could find on Amazon.
Oh yes, this is super cool and super big. As you can see, it's about the size of my hand. Okay, it's not big, but for some reason it looks like a Lego block. I don't know why. And it also came with this bag of supplies like rocks and some super bad decorations. So yeah, get this trash out of here.
For the build, it was pretty simple. Just some sand, rocks, and little twigs. And after filling it up with water very carefully, it was ready.
All right, the little thing's ready, but I did just realize that we're actually kind of demoting him. We're giving him a smaller cage. But hey, I'm sure he won't mind. I mean, he's a small guy. Let's just scoop him up. And just be free, my friend. Welcome to your new home.
Now, ignore how the water's a little cloudy in here. I can't exactly put a filter on the tank since it's way too small. But anyways, look at how much the Chili rasbora is enjoying his tank. You know, swimming around and stuff. Yeah, he loves it. To feed him, I dropped in some of the pellets like I was saying earlier, and while he was swimming around looking like he wanted to eat them, he didn't actually eat any of them. And yeah, even if he did try to eat them, I don't even think they'd fit in his mouth. Like, to be honest, it's so small, I don't even know if this thing has a brain in its head. It might just be on, like, autopilot, going around in random directions 24/7.
Bruh.
But anyways, if you thought I was gonna keep this guy in here, you are wrong. That would actually be kind of mean, since they need a lot more room than this to swim around. So I scooped him up and actually added him in the tank with the catfish, since those aren't aggressive at all, and it has the perfect conditions. And I even added in 5 more of the same Chili rasbora species so they could school up and be friends with each other. Very cool. Anyways, that's it for the tiniest fish I could find, but now it's time for the fish we have all been waiting for. The walking fish, which I have inside of the... He appeared in my most popular video, but it's been 6 months and he's changed a lot, so I want to show you the new and improved Franklin. But before I can do that, I want to build him a new home, since his old home that I built for him is pretty old at this point. So I got out an enclosure and started by putting lava rocks along the middle and using spray foam to seal them up. You see, for walking fish, you need a land area, but also a very shallow water area so they can stay wet and swim around. And first, I started with the water area by putting down some aqua soil, sand, and then some rocks and pebbles to make it look more natural. And I finished it off by sticking around some sticks. See what I did there? Sticking around the sticks? Yeah. Anyways, for the land area, I used some coconut fiber for the base and covered it in a different type of dirt, which will have a more mud-like consistency once water is added. I finished it by putting some sticks around and a little bit of moss. Simple, but good. The final step was to add in water to the right side and then also a bunch of water to the dirt to make it muddy.
All right, you can see after we added the water, this basically turned into like mud, which is perfect for the mud skipper, of course. But the problem with this is it's super moist and mold can actually grow here super easily. So to fix that, I've got this pack of springtails, which are basically they're little bugs and they eat mold and stop mold from growing. So yeah, I'm just gonna put them in there like that. Nice.
Just like that, the enclosure was finished and ready for Franklin to be added. Welcome to your new home, buddy. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Now, if you didn't see the previous video about the walking fish, basically, they can swim around like a normal fish as expected, but in reality, they actually spend most of their time out of the water. And as you can see here, he is an absolute expert at that. As long as their skin is wet, they can breathe just fine outside the water, just like a frog or something.
Now, if you guys saw the last video about the walking fish, Franklin is actually deathly as scared of crickets, but it's been about 6 months since then, and well, I got some good news, guys. He kind of likes to eat crickets now, and I'm about to show you exactly what it's like. It's actually pretty cool to watch.
So I dropped some inside, and they immediately started to walk along the bank of the water area. Not a great idea, considering Franklin was watching their every move. But even after some of the crickets got extremely close to Franklin, he kind of just ignored them. He wasn't scared of them or anything, but he just wasn't eating them. So the crickets crickets got off lucky today because I guess Franklin just wasn't hungry. So if you want to know what it looks like when he eats crickets, just imagine a cricket and then imagine Franklin eating it. Yeah, basically that's it. But anyways, Franklin is easily the coolest weird fish in this. This is 1,000 mosquito eggs, and in just a couple days, they're going to hatch into 1,000 actual flying mosquitoes that I'm going to be doing the most interesting experiments with, like feeding them a pool of blood. Anyways, right now, the mosquito eggs we have are dormant, but all they need to hatch is a bit of water. The second a dry mosquito egg touches water, the embryos inside absorb it and basically come to life. And literally within only a few minutes of adding in the water, check out this area right here. A tiny little white speck started to poke out from the top of this single egg. Everyone, this is a mosquito larva, also known as a wiggler. And yeah, you can probably tell why they're called wigglers based on how much they wiggle. But over the next few days, this will eat food and literally evolve into a fully grown mosquito. It will actually be one of the craziest things you'll ever see. Oh, but yeah, I almost forgot. We don't just have one, we have 1,000 mosquitoes that we're gonna be raising. And only a minute later, another wiggler started to wiggle out, then another, and soon enough, this tank was starting to get overrun with our new pets. I have to be so careful in this video. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. Literally 1,000 mosquito larvae are right here. But if we want them to turn into real mosquitoes, there's a couple things we gotta do to speed up their growth process. Of course, starting with feeding them. And I don't even know what these things eat. I mean, they're practically microscopic at this stage. Yeah. I mean, I guess let me just search, what do mosquito larvae eat? Enter. And it looks like they eat microscopic organic matter. Oh, I actually have an idea of how I could do this. This is fish food. Yeah, not super special, but for when the larvae are this small, it works perfectly to crush up into tiny little pieces. And immediately after dropping in some of this crushed food, it sank down to the bottom for the larvae to start eating. Since the larvae were just born about an hour ago, they're still so unbelievably small that it's just so hard to see, but you can kind of make out the shape of its mouth if you look very closely right here. It's insane how there's a brain and actual life in something this tiny. Anyways, you can see they tried to eat most of this food, but it's still a bit big. So once it dissolves into the water, it'll become even easier for these guys to eat it. But things get fun quickly because these wigglers more than double in size every 24 hours. So I have a feeling if we come back tomorrow, these guys are going to be a lot bigger. Good morning, Terra Greeners. I just woke up. The mosquitoes are probably bigger now. I haven't really checked though. Let me look. Wait, I haven't even zoomed in yet. And wait, you can literally see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you can't tell by this footage, the larvae are so much bigger now. And when I turned on my camera to record them in detail, I was amazed by how much they grew literally overnight. The day before, this was the most zoomed in footage I could get of these guys. But now, the larvae almost filled up the entire frame, and look at how much more detailed they are. This black bulb at the bottom is their heads, and they're so big already, we can make out their mouth a lot easier, and we can even see their tiny little eyes. These guys are so cool, because you can literally see how their mouth works as a little boat motor essentially, and they can just use it to slowly drift among the water surface. Sometimes they'll even curl up and start sucking up microscopic food particles from the surface. Okay, well this video is all about doing the funnest experiments with the mosquitoes, so next up, I want to test their light instincts. Because if you didn't know, adult flying mosquitoes are insanely attracted to light. I mean, they'll just swarm light at night. But I was wondering if that instinct starts when they are babies. Well, to figure it out, I turned off all the lights in my garage and watched what they did. Pretty quickly, the larvae actually started to rise to the surface way more. If you remember, most of the larvae were spending most of their time together, sort of near the bottom of the tanks when the lights were on. But yeah, with the lights off, they all like to be on the surface apparently. Okay, that's pretty interesting. But now what I want to do is take this super bright studio light and position it pointing right at the side of the enclosure. So that way we can turn it on. Oh, there we go. And we can see what they do. Yeah, let's see. And literally the second after turning on this light, like magic, the larvae started to migrate away from it. And they all started to gather up on the right side as far away from the light as possible. Wait, so these guys are moving away from the light. Huh, that's interesting. The fully grown mosquitoes, they'll completely swarm light. But when they're larvae, they will completely avoid it. So to confirm my theory, I turned off this light and moved it over to the right side. And immediately the larvae did exactly what I thought they would, and they went back to the left side. Since I could kind of control where they were, I thought it'd be funny to kind of just swap the lights on and off on each side and, you know, make them do some exercise. Listen, okay, I gotta train some strong, capable mosquitoes for when I put them up against a pile of blood. It's gonna be so interesting.
Dang, that is actually so cool to watch how they do that. And apparently they do this because they don't want to get eaten by fish, of course. And if they're in the darkness, then it's obviously harder for the fishes to see them. But actually, very interestingly, while I was doing that last test, if I go and stir the floor around like that and zoom in, you can see there's tons of what almost looks like just dead mosquito larvae that is just drifting around in the water. Now, I got worried for a second. I thought something was going around killing all the mosquitoes. But don't worry, I actually figured out that these are not dead mosquito larvae.
You see, what these are actually the old skin of our current larvae. You see, these guys apparently shed off their old skin 4 times before becoming a flying mosquito. Basically, just like how other animals will molt their skin off when it's time to grow bigger.
So of course, now that I know that, for the next experiment, I gotta see if I can capture on camera a shot of them molting. Basically, what I'm gonna do is go and move my lights back to the, you know, the back of the enclosure. And basically, that's gonna cause all the larvae to go and swim to the front. And then I can just leave my camera running for like 24 hours and surely I could capture at least one of these guys molting to get that shot for you guys.
And so yeah, I recorded this for like 2 hours, and after thoroughly reviewing all of the footage, none of the larvae actually shed their skin, unfortunately. But obviously, I was not gonna give up. So I spent hours actively recording with my camera, watching every single larvae at the water surface. Apparently, they only molt out their skin when they're hanging upside down from the top, and after about 2 hours, I found this larva. You can tell he was about to molt by the fact that he was hanging upside down for a pretty long time without moving, and every now and then, he would try and twitch to squeeze out of his old skin. If you look very closely right here, you can see his old skin starting to slide up and off, and this white part right here is his new skin underneath. But after watching this guy for like another hour, all of a sudden, he just started to float down, and he fell all the way to the floor and completely stopped moving. Yeah, apparently the molting process is actually really grueling for mosquitoes, and there's a chance that they can use all their energy while doing it and die, which I guess just happened to this guy. Rest in peace, bro. But of course, this was not gonna stop me because I kept recording for longer and longer until I eventually caught this footage. Keep in mind, this is literally the first footage on the internet of a mosquito larvae molting because of how hard it is to catch, so you can't complain about how trash this footage quality is. But anyways, you can see it started to shake violently and it started to slide out of its old skin. This dark part is his new skin, and eventually he was able to fully slide out and only his molt was left behind. It's so cool to watch this happen, and after it does, the new larvae swims away and leaves the old skin behind, which that skin will probably get eaten by another larvae very soon for some protein.
Let's go. I'm so happy we just got to see that. But in fact, I just spent so long trying to get that shot that almost all of our larvae now are pretty much fully grown, meaning yes, we're about to have 1,000 mosquitoes hatching in just a matter of days. And about that, it would be extremely illegal and just really bad if a mosquito escaped, let alone 1,000 mosquitoes. So I have a feeling it's time we build some sort of containment system. Oh man.
Now thankfully, I had this big tank sitting in my garage, which would actually be a perfect fit to put over our current tank, so when the mosquitoes hatch, they won't be able to just fly away. But obviously, there's a big opening on the bottom, which would be bad if we had to move this, all the mosquitoes would get out. So what I did was put our current tank in here while the big one was sideways. And then I got this piece of clear acrylic that I'm gonna be able to attach to the front.
And when I attach this piece of acrylic, it's gonna make sure no mosquitoes can get out. But you're probably wondering why I got all these massive holes right here. Well, what I'm gonna do is this, and as you can see, I just put mesh in each of the corners so, you know, air can get in. But I left this hole open in the middle so I can put a little door here so we'll be able to put stuff in, but mosquitoes won't be able to get out.
It's pretty simple to make though, because all we gotta do is attach this little sleeve contraption I made and put a clamp on the end.
Basically how it works is if you want to put your arm inside, you go ahead and take off the safety clamp like that. And basically what you do is while you're holding it still, you gotta carefully stretch your arm inside, and then boom, when it's around your arm, it's very airtight and you can go ahead and put your arm inside. And you see I have access to here and the mosquitoes won't be able to get out, and it's very easy to go and take my arm out, keep it shut, and then I can go and put the clamp back on.
And after I had my dad silicone the acrylic on, boom, this containment system is done. But guys, there's actually something I didn't tell you about these mosquitoes. In their life cycles, there's a whole nother stage of life before becoming mosquitoes that lasts about a day. And when I came back the next day to my tank, I noticed they were already entering it.
Oh my gosh, guys, look at what I just saw. Take a look at the larvae in here. You see these little circular things
things swimming around next to the actual larvae, those are the pupae, and that means they're about to hatch.
You see, these pupae are also called tumblers because, well, they tumble down when they sense potential danger nearby. But the coolest thing is how these guys look. They got these weird, scary looking eyes. They got little horns that act as snorkels for oxygen. And of course, they look way different from a larva with that cool shrimp-shaped body. And if you're wondering how it looks when a larva turns into a pupae, well, this awesome footage from Backyard Bugs shows it. Basically, the skin splits at the thorax area, and very similarly to how the larvae molt, the new pupae will slide out, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yes, sir. These guys are so cool, but we haven't even got to see the coolest part where they literally crawl out the pupae, and it's like an alien movie. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't think that shot's gonna be too hard to get because we're on like day 8, and check what has just started to hatch. Yep, that is a mosquito, meaning there's like 3 mosquitoes in here right now, so it shouldn't be long till we have much more.
You see, the pupae get darker and darker as they get closer to turning into a mosquito. So since this pupae is bright white, I know he won't be hatching anytime soon, but these pupae here are extremely dark, meaning the mosquito is right under that skin, ready to crawl out.
So to make the shot even easier to get, I'm gonna suck all the darkest pupae up into this little pipette and put them in this container to make it easier to record.
Now, since the mosquitoes have already started to hatch, I actually had to use the door I made to get my hand inside so they wouldn't escape, and I used my little pipette to start sucking up as many of the dark pupae as I could. Then I put them into a temporary container and I started to film. Thankfully, the pupae hatched within only a few hours of turning black, so it was literally only about an hour of recording till I caught this on camera. Out of nowhere, this pupa here started to straighten out its tail. This makes a little tunnel here for the head of the mosquito to start squeezing out. It's so nasty, but you can see how this area here just keeps inflating. The mosquito is literally being born in front of our eyes, and you can see how it's leaving the clear pupa skin behind. All of a sudden, his little mouth pops out here that they use to suck blood, and soon after, you can see his wings popped out as well.
Oh my gosh, guys, this is insane. Wait, this is happening right now.
Finally, the legs stop sticking to the body, and bada bing, bada boom, that's how a mosquito is born. They'll basically stand here for like half an hour while they wait for their body and wings to harden up.
Unfortunately, I am not allowed to just let this guy fly out. Yeah, when you hatch mosquitoes in your house, it is just illegal to let them escape. So I'm gonna try and move them into this tank, but if I can't do it, I do have this here.
But thankfully, I didn't have to use that since it was super easy to just grab it with tweezers and let it loose in the containment system. W mosquitoes, bro. That was one of the coolest things I have seen.
Well, guys, it's been another few days, and I'm proud to say we have 100+ mosquitoes now. I mean, we got tons just flying around. We got even more just sitting all over the glass. And that's not even to mention all the mosquitoes just hiding around.
Now, I can test these guys with my last 2 mosquito experiments, starting with sticking my hand inside of the tank of mosquitoes.
But in addition to my hand going in there, I've also got a couple kinds of mosquito repellent. So we can test if these things actually work. I am definitely about to get bit.
So I started to apply the first mosquito repellent to my arm by spraying it. You see, mosquitoes are insanely attracted to the scent and heat of human skin, but somehow the spray stuff completely blocks all of those and messes with the mosquito senses.
Theoretically, when I stick my hand in there, I shouldn't get bit. Well, I guess let's just do this.
And as I stuck my hand in, I got very nervous. I hate mosquito bites.
They're flying very close, but yeah, I don't think they can even sense that this is a hand right now.
Yeah, I literally left my hand in there another 30 seconds and not a single mosquito even landed on it. When normally they would definitely be swarming it.
Dang, this stuff works good. If you need some mosquito repellent, I recommend this brand. It's not sponsored or anything, but it's pretty good. But now the second mosquito repellent I want to test. Well, you see this app right here? This app claims to literally make a sound that will repel mosquitoes. Oh, do you hear that? It's like a high-pitched buzz. Okay, well, let's see if this works.
Now I've heard these apps are myths, but as I put my hand inside, the mosquitoes weren't instantly swarming it. In fact, they were acting kind of similar to earlier when I was testing the spray stuff, even though I had thoroughly washed it all off my hand. Maybe these apps actually do work. That was until I found this when I took my hand out.
Okay, for a second, I thought this app actually worked. Now, let me turn off this ear-piercing sound. But then I realized realized I actually got bit like right there. I can definitely feel it. It's starting to itch and stuff. Don't use these apps, guys. I can assure you they are fake, but I guess this stuff kind of does work.
Anyways, now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Mosquitoes versus blood.
And yes, I actually have a jar of blood from a cow. Oh my gosh.
Now, in order to make this have a chance to work, I had to fill up this little container with a bunch of blood, and then I put some saran wrap on top. This way, the mosquitoes could stick their little mouthpiece through it and get filled up with blood if they're hungry. Finally, I just warmed it up in the microwave so it would recreate the temperature that mosquitoes like, and I put it inside the tank. Let's see what these mosquitoes do. Now, for the first like 20 minutes, pretty much none of the 100 mosquitoes were interested. They were kind of just hiding around and not moving much, so I kept trying tons of new stuff, like dimming the lights, because apparently mosquitoes don't like to eat under the bright light. And after trying so much stuff and recording for hours, not a singular mosquito tried to eat this blood. In this cool footage, you can see mosquitoes literally only take a couple seconds to land on an arm and get completely filled up with blood. But for some reason, they only like to drink blood from arms and not just liquid blood, apparently, like we have here. Literally all the mosquitoes had gathered up on the other side of the enclosure to avoid it.
Yeah, I literally just tried to record this for 2 days. None of the mosquitoes were interested. I didn't want to have to not upload the video just because the last experiment failed, which was just so interesting to watch, so I had to upload this. Hopefully you guys learned something new and were entertained. And about these mosquitoes, I had to buy this massive freezer to terminate the colony, because that's just legally required after filming with mosquitoes, to ensure none of them escape. So I'm gonna get to doing that, guys, but I guess see you later. Goodbye.
We've all seen piranhas in movies depicted as these crazy evil fish that will eat anything they lay their eyes on. But despite how deadly they're made out to be, for some reason, you can legally buy them to keep as a pet.
So I'm gonna buy 6 piranhas, build them a home, and test to see if they're actually as vicious as the movies made them out to be. Meaning, yes, I will be putting my hand inside of their tank. What could go wrong? Let's just buy this thing.
And so literally the next day, the delivery van dropped off the package that supposedly had the cold-blooded killing piranhas.
That was fast. I'm hoping all these guys survived the shipping, since as you can see, it's pretty cold out. But anyways, let's get these inside.
So I got out this 20-gallon tank I had laying around and filled it up with some cycled water. Then I cut open the tape on the box that had the piranhas inside.
Oh shoot, bro. There is literally piranhas right under my hand. Let me take this bag out. And oh, I cannot believe I'm gonna be keeping these as pets. What the heck?
Thankfully, every single piranha had survived the shipping, so I put all 6 of them into the tank. But when I put them in, I realized they were barely moving and definitely not acting like normal vicious piranhas.
And look, I can literally drop a cricket into the water, and usually they would go crazy immediately eating that up, but check it out. No reaction at all.
You see, the reason they're not moving is because they need a way bigger tank with all the right stuff inside. So I got out a new tank and filled it with 100 pounds of sand. We gotta do this because, of course, the first step is creating the floor and decorations. To continue this process, I started to use these sort of thin sticks and use a hot glue gun to hang them from the top of the enclosure. You see, these piranhas that I bought are red-bellied piranhas, which are supposedly the most vicious species, and they live in the Amazon River where there's all these roots and stuff hanging in the water, so that's what I'm trying to recreate in here with this. Anyways, next up, it was time to use even more wood. You see, this time I want to stack up some thicker wood to make it look like a massive tree trunk is growing from out of the water. So I actually took the wood out and used some water-safe spray foam to connect all the pieces together with some branches coming off of them.
And then once all the spray foam and stuff on it has dried, we just plop it in there like that. And boom, there we go. Check it out. You can even see the roots and stuff. It's pretty cool. It looks like a tree, but there's still a bit more decorations we have to put inside of here.
First of all, you guessed it, just some more wood randomly scattered around, but then some rocks because pretty much every Amazon riverbed has them. And finally, some pebbles like this, which I dropped around the enclosure, and some even tinier little pebbles, which I also dropped around the enclosure, which makes the sand across the whole thing look a little more realistic.
Well, I'd say this is a pretty good start to the base of the tank, but now it's time for the fun part. Let's go get some aquatic plants for this. Okay, I'm at Petco, and I'm not gonna lie, the aquatic plant section is looking a little lousy today. Pretty much all these plants are like dead. Bro, no way I'm paying $10 for a dead stick with a little leaf. But let's buy all the ones here that are alive like this.
So I picked out all the good plants and even found this little cool vine one, which of course I had to get to. So I drove home and got all the plants out.
Oh man, this is already the most plants I've gotten for a video, and that's not even including this big bag of leftover plants Petco had.
Anyways, I went and put each of the plants in the sand across the tank and filled it up with a bit of water. That way the roots of the plants could stay nice and moist while we continued building.
Oh, and I almost forgot the most important part, this vine thing. Let's just put this across the branches like that, and oh yeah, check it out. It looks like a vine.
Well, next up, as you can see, I've left this little area here empty. That's because I want to build a graveyard here with a ton of skulls and stuff because apparently piranhas are deadly. So I drove out to buy some.
Okay, I'm at PetSmart first, and I found this skull decoration, so I'm gonna get that. Ooh, and they got a tiny little animal skull. I'm definitely gonna get that too.
So I bought those and a couple more decorations with skeletons on them. Then after getting home, I put some of the larger skulls around in the sand. I even replaced some of the rocks in the back with them so this place would look extra spooky.
Then with these tiny little skull beads, I'm gonna go and plant them around in the sand, just like that. Then I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of sand on top so it looks like they've been buried. And there we go, check the graveyard out. It actually looks pretty good. Bunch of skulls on the floor, all those other big skulls. Yeah, I like it.
And now finally, to finish this tank, we gotta do the DIY technologies. And for the first one, I have one of my coolest ideas ever, but I had to go buy more stuff at the store.
All right, it's been a while since I went to Walmart in a video. You guys were kind of getting mad at me in the comments, so I'm sorry. I'm returning to my basics, don't worry. And the reason I'm at Walmart is because I gotta get a bunch of food that the piranhas are gonna like.
So I got some beef, sardines, tuna, and bone broth, and also got this tiny little blender. After driving home, I threw all that food I just bought into the blender and blended it up. After it was done, as you can see, it turned into this nasty liquid stuff. But anyways, I sucked the liquid up into this syringe thing and brought it over to the tank.
Okay, this might seem kind of complex, but it's actually genius. You see, I can basically squirt some of this around in the water, and it just spreads the scent around. And what I'm gonna do is attach it to the side of the enclosure, and whenever I want to get the piranhas mad and in hunting mode, I just squirt a little bit of this out the end, and it'll make them go absolutely crazy.
So I attached that to the side of the tank with some glue, and then it was done. And now the next technology is these two water pumps and some bubble walls that I started to set up across the whole back of the tank. You see, right now, this stuff does nothing. But once I fill up the entire tank with some cycled water, which took a long time because of how big it was, check out what it can do.
All right, now if I go and plug in these pumps, as you can see, it starts to make bubbles at the back of the enclosure. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But basically, this little air pump just blows air into this tube, which goes into there. But what I could actually do is unattach that and just blow into this myself to make bubbles. That was cool. Anyways, the last technology is this little fish. I'm just kidding. I've actually already shown this in a video before. So what I've got is the upgraded version. Yeah, this one's way bigger and way cooler. Which, as you can see, if I just go and put it in the water like this, it starts to swim around like a normal fish.
And yeah, I just think it'd be funny if I maybe tested the piranhas to see if they try to eat it or something. Anyways, this tank is now complete. And speaking of the piranhas, it's time to get them inside.
Okay, I'm gonna try my best to not get bit here. Oh, no.
So I grabbed the temporary tank they were in and brought it over to their new home so I could scoop them out.
Okay, they definitely look more aggressive than the first time I did this, but I'm just gonna carefully scoop one guy out just like that. Oh shoot, he's mad, but I'm just gonna put him into the new tank, and there you go. Be free, my friend. New home.
So I did that same process with the other 5, and there we go. The piranhas were in their new home. And as you could guess, immediately they packed up like piranhas do and looked as though they were already on the hunt for food once again.
Well, these piranhas look pretty hungry, I'm not gonna lie, or maybe piranhas are just always hungry. So now I'm gonna feed them the first of 5 different food sources to see which they like the most. The first of which being mealworms.
And before feeding them the mealworms, if you remember, I had this pipe with the delicious juice inside, which I went and squirted inside to let the piranhas know it was feeding time. And as you could guess, they immediately started to go up and eat it, which kind of made a mess, but yeah, they were loving it.
Oh my gosh, do you see that? They're all gathering around a little area where I just put it in.
So now that they were ready, I dropped in the mealworms and one started to sink down. 2 of the piranhas noticed it and kind of took nibbles at it, but they were kind of just playing around with it more than they were actually eating it. And that same thing kept happening with most of mealworms, but that was until I saw this, where 3 of them took turns devouring it up, and yeah, this one actually got eaten.
Okay, well, mealworms, I'm gonna give about like a 2 out of 10 on how much the piranhas like them.
But as you can see, second on the list, we're gonna be feeding them crickets.
Now, if you remember at the start, the piranhas wanted nothing to do with the crickets, but let's see how they'll react now that they're in this new tank.
So I dropped in just one, and because it was just floating there, I grabbed it it with tweezers to show the piranhas. Instantly, you could see they picked up the memo that this was alive, and they sort of started to nibble it like the mealworms. But not even a single piranha actually took a big enough bite to eat this cricket.
Okay, that was pretty bad. The crickets, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10 because the mealworms, they at least did eat some of them. I guess these piranhas just don't really like insects, so that's why I'm gonna rapid fire the next 2 off. Here you can see I've got salmon and ground beef, which is a lot more smelly. They better like this.
I started by waving the salmon around in the water until the piranhas noticed it, and once a few started to come up and nibble it, I accidentally dropped it into the sand where all the rest of the piranhas came swimming up. They huddled around it like a pack of hyenas and started to actually take little chunks out of the piece for them to eat. So I did the same thing with the ground beef and held it in the water. And this time the piranhas were even more interested, and instantly the entire pack huddled around it and took turns taking their bites out of it. I even noticed that the scraps of it had fallen onto the floor and were getting surrounded by the piranhas too.
Well, dang, I'm gonna give the salmon an 8 out of 10 and the ground beef a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, they loved that so much, but that doesn't mean I gotta do my hand now. I said I would do it in the intro, so, you know, let's just do it. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Start the timer. Let's see how long I can keep it in here.
Right away, nothing really happened because none of the piranhas were near my hand. But I knew this was kind of cheating, so I moved my hand closer, where right away, one sort of noticed me and actually started to chase my hand as I moved it away to avoid getting bit. So of course, I moved my hand back over to the pack, where some of them definitely got sort of close to biting me, but they were nowhere near as aggressive as they were towards the beef. You see, it's actually a common misconception that piranhas are evil towards humans like all the movies say.
But to be honest, if you're a viewer watching this, I would not personally...
I just found probably the most alien looking creature on Earth. It is literally a mutant creature with the mouth of a spider, the body of a scorpion, and claws that look like saws. And that's not even mentioning that it has some of the weirdest and creepiest behavior out of any animal ever. But despite how weird it is, apparently there's a website that will sell you one as a pet. After placing the order, they said they would ship it out in a few days. So in the meantime, to build the enclosure, I got out the tank and a couple big boxes of rocks. Yeah, I got a lot of rocks for this. This is because I needed them to start stacking around the outer part of the enclosure to try to make it look like a cave. You see, in the wild, tailless whip scorpions like to hide in between rocks because, I guess that's just where they feel safe. I don't really know. And to connect the rocks together, I originally tried to use my handy dandy hot glue gun and, you know, glue them, but the rocks were just too heavy and it kept collapsing over and over.
Oh my gosh, these stupid rocks keep falling.
Yeah, it wasn't really working, so instead I resorted to using some animal safe spray foam like always, and I covered it in a bunch of the big rocks and then a bunch of tiny little rocks, and I repeated that process on the left and right side of the enclosure.
And check it out. Hopefully you see the vision I'm going for. You know, there's a cave. We're making a cave. There's rocks on the walls. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool.
Now, this is a good start. However, you'd be dumb to think this is all I'm doing. I'm making this the best enclosure ever, so I can show off all the cool things the alien creature can do. It's gonna be so cool to watch. Anyways, the next step is to do the floor and decorations. And for the floor, we want it to be high quality and cheap, which is why I've got a bunch of these coconut fiber bricks, which are about to expand into a ton of dirt.
Seriously, these are so cool. You just add a big tub of water like this. Ooh, I'm getting that everywhere. And over time, it's gonna start to absorb that water and they're gonna expand and become a bunch of dirt, you know? And boom, look at that. It went from those boring bricks to this nice, moist dirt. Yeah, boy. Okay, maybe it's not that cool, but you know, it's dirt. It's pretty necessary.
To top off the floor, I mixed in some wood chips, dead leaves, some moss, and a couple rocks. Now, apparently the alien creature I'm getting has the ability to dig burrows out in this dirt with its claws, but I have no idea if mine's gonna do that, so hopefully it does. That would be pretty dang cool to watch. Now, to decorate the enclosure, I got these super thin sticks and started to glue them along the top. As you can see, they kind of look like tree roots, which adds this cool effect to the build that makes it look like there's trees growing above this cave. Nice. And of course, this wouldn't be a Terra Green enclosure without some plants in here, which as you can see, I've got a few of. Now, these plants are actually super important because water droplets will gather on top of the leaves, which will easily allow the alien creature to sip them up and get hydrated, which, you know, is good. You know, we gotta make sure he can drink water and stuff. But while I was at Walmart getting the plants, I also found this absolutely majestical stone statue of an alien.
Hi, how are you?
Because, you know, we're putting a tailless whip scorpion inside of here, which is basically an alien. So yeah, I put that in to finish off the decorations.
Bruh, this guy's got a big forehead. That's is a real shame. Thankfully, my forehead isn't that big.
Okay, the first 3 steps are all complete, but now it's time to get some technology in this enclosure to make it stand out. The first of which is this big machine right here, which can do something very cool. To get it to work, I had to fill up this container with a bunch of water, and after it was filled up, I put it back on top and finally twisted this knob right here.
And now check this out. Out of the end of this tube, a bunch of smoke, as you can see, or fog, not smoke. It'd probably be bad if there's smoke coming out of it. Dang, that is actually cool. Look, it just comes out. I don't know how a machine just turns water into fog. That's pretty cool.
Anyways, this is actually very useful, since as long as I turn this on about once a day, it will keep the humidity levels at a good spot for this enclosure. Also, it's just cool and adds to the cave ambience, you know? And speaking of cave ambience, this next technology is gonna add to it even more. It's this super tiny Bluetooth speaker, which I buried in the dirt and covered with a leaf. With this, all I gotta do is connect it to my phone with Bluetooth, and I can play stuff like cave noises, which is pretty cool. You know, adds to the cave ambience.
But of course, I don't have to make this speaker just play cave noises. I can make it play literally anything, like the most annoying sound in the world, 1 hour. What is this sound? What? This is so stupid. Okay, definitely wasn't lying. This is probably the most annoying sound in the world. I don't think the alien's gonna like this if I play this when he's in here. Okay, I get it. Can you just turn off by now? Turn off. Okay. Oh, okay. Please turn off. Please.
Okay, anyways, this enclosure is finished enough to be able to add the tailless whip scorpion alien creature in here. So yeah.
Well, I just went and picked up this package. It says live animals, and you know, I'm pretty sure it's the alien. Now, as you guys know, this thing is insanely creepy. I mean, I showed you that video of it literally crawling out of its skin. So this is definitely gonna be my most creepiest pet. But anyways, let's get this in the enclosure I built for it, and let's go, baby.
So I got out a knife and opened the package up.
And oh, here it is. Because you can't really see anything. There's paper towels everywhere. Okay, hold on. Let me open this up.
I then very carefully removed the lid and paper towels to expose the alien creature.
Oh my gosh. This thing is gonna jump out at me. I have no idea. I'm just gonna close the glass though. Yeah, get that closed. Thank you very much.
Now at first it was completely still, and actually I couldn't even tell if it was alive, but eventually I noticed signs of movement, and then soon enough it fully started to climb out of its container. Very creepily, it slowly made its way over to a rock to go into hiding. But it wasn't just any rock. Of course, it was the rock with the alien statue on top.
Bruh. Well. I told you guys this was an alien. Only an alien would go under the rock with an alien on top of it. But anyways, as I said at the start of the video, I'm gonna be pranking my mom with this thing. But before I do something like that, let's just see what it's capable of by trying to feed it something. I don't know. Let's just put some food in here though.
And after doing some research, it turns out that tailless whip scorpions absolutely love crickets. And thankfully, I always have a bag of crickets since all my favorite pets eat them. And immediately after putting them in, they actually all looked very happy. These stupid crickets really thought that this was their new home, and they were just going around eating moss. Well, little did they know that this home actually belongs to my tailless whip scorpion, and unfortunately for one of the crickets, it made a wrong turn. It walked straight into the crevice of the rock that the alien creature was sitting inside. I thought for sure that that cricket was a goner, but miraculously, about a minute later, it walked out the rock unscathed. A little later, I saw the alien creature in a different spot hanging onto a wall. And just like before, a cricket walked straight up to it. And in fact, this cricket was extra stupid. He started to walk right in front of the alien's literal mouth. Bruh. But for some reason, the tailless whip scorpion was not eating it at all.
Okay, it's the next day, and I figured out why the alien creature in here isn't eating. It's because this species is partly nocturnal, and as you can see, I just have massive studio lights shining super brightly on here. I guess he just doesn't want to eat in the light. So anyways, I want to let this guy just kind of adjust to the new home for about a week, and I guess I'll just come back then and we can do the rest of the stuff.
In the meantime, here's this cool video by Aquarium Pets of the same species eating, if you're wondering what that looks like. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, let's get back to the content.
Okay, this is the absolute best part of the video because I'm gonna show my mom this alien creature and then I'm gonna prank her. And if you're wondering how I'm gonna prank her, just take a look at this thing. It's basically a one-on-one model of the tailless whip scorpion. And yeah, I'm basically just gonna throw it at her. She is not gonna be happy. But anyway, she's not home right now, so I guess I'll just cut to when she is and we'll show her this. Okay, you can come in. Alright, so I just got a new pet.
and I just want to show you it. Now come stand over here, and you can try and tell what it is. I just want you to guess what kind of pet I got.
Oh my gosh, it looks super cool. Where's it at?
Can you see anything in there?
I'm trying my hardest.
Okay, well, it's hidden behind this rock, but
Shut up, dude.
do you know what it is?
No.
If you look very
Wait a
closely back
second.
under that rock, there's something right
Oh
there.
my god, dude, I'm scared.
For some reason, she couldn't really see it, so I gently woke it up with a spatula, and here's her reaction.
Oh my god, dude! What the heck is this?
You see that?
Seriously?
You
No,
see that?
no, yeah, that's alien and mindfulness. Oh
an alien in
my
there.
goodness.
Anyways, I have this fog machine, so we can put some fog on it, and that's pretty cool.
That's super cool, but seriously, where did that come from?
I don't know, the space or something?
Space.
Okay, anyways, that's all I gotta show you. Do you think it's cool?
No, dude, it looks so freaking weird. Yeah, it looks like evil.
Well, it's a good thing you'll never have to see it again. Okay, bye.
Now that she had seen it and left, I got the one-on-one model out and put it on my hand. This is gonna be really funny.
Okay, could you come back in here? I just forgot to show you one thing.
Oh my god, dude. Dude,
You wanna say
Devin,
hello
no.
to it?
No, go away.
Yeah.
You're such a dork, that's not even real.
Yeah, it's just a piece of paper.
Oh my gosh.
What do you rate it out
Oh
of
my
10?
gosh. Whew, I don't know. I'm still confused.
Okay,
Devin.
bye.
Okay, so she rated it in I don't know, I'm still confused out of 10, which translates to probably a 10 out of 10. So yeah, I guess she likes it, and I'm gonna have to get more animals like this. There are billions of lizards alive across the world, but out of all of them, one species stands out as unique.
What the hell, what?
Chameleons. You see, chameleons have the ability to be bred to have extremely rare color patterns, like a literal rainbow. But I just came across the rarest color variation that I have never seen before.
This beautiful red and blue chameleon that literally looks like a Nintendo Switch. Just to represent how rare this is, let's say there's a billion lizards on Earth, and about 1,000 of those are a chameleon with this exact color morph. That would mean there is a 0.0000001% chance of this existing. And sure, it may cost $899, but this is gonna easily be one of my coolest pets ever.
And once I get it, I'll show off some special abilities of chameleons that many of you have probably never seen before. But it's gonna take a few days until it gets shipped out to my house. So in the meantime, I probably should build up an enclosure for the chameleon with everything it could possibly need to live an amazing life. And of course, to build that, I'm gonna need the giant 120-gallon terrarium and hundreds of dollars worth of supplies. But to start the build, the only thing we actually need is some dead leaves and bark. You see, to make the floor for a chameleon, you don't want to use normal materials like dirt. This is because chameleons have these special tongues that when they're shot out, they'll pick up stuff like dirt on the floor and eat it, which will make the chameleon sick. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So even though this floor is super simple, it's actually perfect. But of course, the rare Nintendo Switch chameleon I'm getting is gonna need a lot more than this in his enclosure. Yeah, this is just definitely not enough. So for step number 2, I got a whole bunch of wooden branches. Now, as you can see, I installed these 2 metal bars going across the enclosure, which I'll start by covering in the branches I have. I made sure to make the branches reach all along the top of the enclosure, the bottom, the sides, and literally everywhere. And after they were secured in place with zip ties and foam, I covered up most of that ugly stuff with some moss and leaves. So it doesn't look like a 5-year-old made this anymore. I also got a bunch of these vine things, which are basically these long bendable rubber sticks that recreate the look of jungle vines, and they curve all around the enclosure.
Okay, if I'm being honest, this does look a little bit cluttered and messy right now. But trust me, coming up in this video, I got some stuff planned that's gonna make this, you know, actually look good and be an actually good enclosure.
And plus, all these branches and vines are actually very necessary to allow the chameleon to climb and swing around the entire enclosure. And don't worry, guys, because I'll be getting plants to cover up these big ugly foam things in the corner. Speaking of plants, I should probably put some in here since that's the next step to finishing this amazing home. But I don't have any right now, so I'm gonna go to the plant store. Now, of course, I drove to Walmart, as always, to buy my plants. And the plant section was actually amazing this time. I mean, they had a way better selection than they usually do. Just look at all of them.
Oh my gosh, are you guys seeing this? $15 for this giant plant. Okay, that is actually a super good deal. You're only gonna see deals like that at Walmart. That is why I come here, guys.
So I picked out all the plants the rare chameleon could possibly want and brought them home.
Alright, so obviously I've got plants now, but you'd be stupid if you think I'm just gonna put these straight into the enclosure. Oh, no. I'm going to make these plants way, way better.
And what I mean by that is I'm gonna make them look extra cool with some animal-safe red and blue paint. Yeah, I'm gonna paint these plant pots to be the same color as the chameleon I'm getting. I don't know why, I just think it'll look cool, okay? Yeah, I did this on every plant pot, it took forever. But after letting the paint dry for a few hours, I started to scatter the plants along the floor and sides of the enclosure. And in no time, I was done.
And check this out. This looks, I mean, it looks alright. I mean, the plants and everything look fine, but maybe the blue and red pots were not the best idea. The paint kind of started to fade. It's not even blue anymore, but it's still pretty funny, and I bet the chameleon's gonna like to see some of the stuff of his same color. So, anyways, I gotta get to the next step. Let's just go to the next step right now. Let's go to the next step.
Okay, anyways, on the to-do list, there's 2 more steps to make this a chameleon dream home, starting with some basic technology. And what this means is I've got a bunch of technology like this light bulb, which is necessary, but to be honest, it's nothing special. This light bulb in specific generates heat, and as you can see, right in the basking spot under the heat lamp, it reaches up to 90 degrees, which is perfect. And of course, in a cooler part of the enclosure, it reaches about 70 degrees, so the chameleon won't get too hot or nothing. You know, we don't want the chameleon to get heat stroke. But another basic technology you need is a long UVB light bulb, which recreates the same UV rays the sun does. And basically, this lets the chameleon get vitamin D or something. It's pretty complex biology stuff, but it's very important. And finally, I set up a simple water misting system, which, you know, you just press a button and it starts spraying water all around the enclosure. Yeah, pretty simple, but it's very necessary. Okay, well, now that the boring technology is over, let's get some fun, custom, advanced technology in this enclosure. At the start, I got this big, cool blue thing. You see, earlier at Walmart, I saw these toys that were apparently made by the YouTuber Mr. Beast. And, you know, I love Mr. Beast, so I bought this egg-looking one, which I had an idea for how I could use in the chameleon enclosure. So I pressed a button to open it up, and inside was, this thing.
What the heck is this? Okay, I guess inside there's a Mr. Beast toy that makes that annoying noise. Well, I don't really know what I was expecting, but I guess let me just put this inside the chameleon enclosure, and there we go. If you're wondering why I put this in here, well, I was just thinking I want to give the chameleon a nice friend, and, you know, this is kind of animal looking thing, so, okay, I'm sorry, this is stupid. Let's just go to the next technology.
And now next on the to-do list, this one is even cooler than the last.
Alright, so for the second thing I'm adding in here, basically, I just wanted to make it look more like a home. And as you know, most homes have paintings around their house because that's just what homes have. So I'm going to add my own custom painting inside of here.
And to get the custom image made, I asked AI to make a picture of a red and blue chameleon wearing a suit.
And, oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Wait, okay, we're going to put this painting inside the chameleon's home. Oh, this is going to be pretty cool.
So I drove to the printing store and printed the image out, hoping no one around me would see me getting these stupid looking paintings.
Bruh.
And there we go. Check it out. This looks pretty. I mean the painting looks kind of cool, but I don't really know why I added this either. It's a little useless, but anyways, this entire enclosure is actually pretty much finished. I don't know anything else I can add to it, so I guess it's just time to add the rare red and blue chameleon inside. Let's just cut to then. So as you can see, I got the lizard right here, and I don't know what I'm doing outside. I should probably just go put him in the enclosure.
So I opened up the package and immediately was amazed by its beauty.
Oh my gosh, this thing looks super cool. Okay, wait, this is easily gonna be my coolest looking pet.
The only thing to do was open the lid and let it crawl out when it was ready. And of course, it went straight to doing its stupid chameleon dance.
Well, what the hell, what?
Now, as you can see, the colors on it right now are sort of darker than what they should be. And that's because currently it's a bit stressed from just getting out of the shipping container. Coming up, I'll be explaining exactly how chameleons change color and why by showing you guys this rare lizard. But for now, I want to show the amazing ability that chameleons have to hunt prey from literally across the enclosure.
Now, you guys may not know this, but chameleons actually love crickets. Like literally all my other pets, and crickets are pretty healthy for chameleons, so yeah, that's what I'm going to be feeding him today.
So I waited a few hours before putting any crickets in to allow the chameleon to adjust to his new home. And as you can see, soon enough, his color started to brighten up, and that means he's ready to hunt.
Come on, crickets, get out, get out. There we go. Yeah, get out.
I put a few of the crickets inside, and at first, they sort of just started to mind their own business, just walking around looking for food, you know. But little did they know that they are about to become food for this guy.
Hi, how are you?
Now, the first ability chameleons have for hunting is their eyes. As you can see, both of his eyes are able to move in different directions, constantly scanning everywhere around him, in front and behind at the same time. And it wasn't long until the chameleon set one of his eyes on one of the little crickets. He started to move into attack position very slowly. Yeah, chameleons are so slow, they're basically sloths. And while this cricket thought he was safe, little did he know what was about to happen. Chameleon's second ability, their insane tongue that's over a foot long. Yeah, whenever this chameleon was within a couple feet of a cricket, it locked onto the target and shot its tongue directly towards it. And because the tongue is so sticky, it just brought the cricket in with it so it could enjoy a nice, tasty meal. And after seeing how cool it was when the chameleon hunted, I got a funny idea.
Okay, you see this cricket here? I'm gonna get this onto my hand like that. And then I'm literally gonna try and feed the chameleon from my hand. You can see it's right there. It just jumped off. Okay, take two. We're gonna put this right next to the chameleon's mouth. And there we go, that's the perfect spot. Eat it, bro. Eat it. I wanna see this thing eat from my hand so bad. It's literally right in front of you. Hello? You're just gonna watch it? It's crawling all around my hand. You have the perfect opportunity. And you're not doing it. And okay, I think the chameleon's just walking away at this point. I guess he doesn't really want to eat from my hand. I'm sorry, cricket, but I'm just gonna... You're gonna get eaten. Anyways, I should probably name this rare chameleon. And like I said earlier, this thing has the exact same colors as a Nintendo Switch. So I'm gonna name my chameleon... Switch. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty creative name, I know. Anyways, now I'm gonna show you guys exactly how chameleons change color, and it might actually be pretty surprising to some of you. But quickly, I just want to tell you guys that since the last video, you've increased the amount of people subscribed from 5% to 6%, which is okay improvement, but let's get this to like 50%. So please, if you're enjoying this video at all, just scroll down and click subscribe. Now, anyways, you might have seen me show you guys this video of a chameleon changing colors. And while this viral video is actually very cool to watch, it is completely fake. Yeah, chameleons can't actually control their colors like that, and in reality, they only have the ability to become slightly darker or slightly brighter. This happens because it's super tiny cells in their skin that can get bigger or smaller depending on certain conditions like heat. You see, when I first put Switch in the enclosure, he immediately ran up to the heat lamp and sat under it, which made his color change to be way brighter. Anyway, Switch is very cool, and I've only just scratched the surface of chameleon care. I might even end up doing another video where I breed Switch and another rare female chameleon to get an ultra rare chameleon, so subscribe if you want to see that. But until then, this guy is gonna be an amazing pet. Thank you for watching. Anyways, I just want to quickly update all the subscribers who care about the channel. So I've seen a couple comments of people asking what I do with my pets after the videos, and the answer is with some of them, I'll end up donating them to pet shops or friends to take care of them. Since I make a ton of videos by myself, it's hard to give equal care to every single pet, so that's why I do that. But if you're wondering, these are mealworms, and they're known for their ability to eat almost anything. But what if you put 10,000 mealworms on a whole watermelon? How quickly would they completely eat it and turn it to mush despite its massive size? Yeah, I don't know, so that's why I bought 10,000 mealworms.